All right. Recording is going.
Same here.
Ready for the clap test?
Ready. Let's do this.
All right. 1, 2, 3. You
All
were way
right.
off, dude.
Look, there's going to be a little bit of lag between this whole thing, because audio like this is under a little bit of lag anyway.
All right, so now you have to explain this to the listeners because they're probably going to leave all this in.
So, all right. In 5, 4, 3. Hello and welcome to another episode of Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm Markiplier. Okay, no. Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
This time I'll do the countdown and we'll do it for reals this time.
Well, I'm not going to edit this out either, so we'll leave
No,
fine.
you are. Yes, you are. You are editing this part out. All it is a cut. Hi, welcome to another episode of Action Toon Brothers. I am Ben Sturgeon.
And I'm Matthew Lewis.
Wow, you are way far off with that. Like, the lag is real. And the reason because of that is we are doing a remote recording. So
Yay.
Matt is going to have to get off his butt and actually do some editing, like actual real life editing.
Ugh, it's the finale of Young Justice all over again.
It really is. And how appropriate, because this is also the finale of Spawn.
Hell yeah.
What the hell is it with us and finales? Always,
at least
finales.
Shows with 3 seasons, because this is the exact same thing what happened with.
Wait a minute.
It didn't happen with Castlevania, at least I don't think so.
No, well, there are a few. There were a few that were like not like this, but guess what? I think this is karmatic justice, because the finale of Young Justice was your show, because you chose that one, because I chose Korra. Now it's my turn because I chose Spawn.
Yay! Well, hopefully this will never happen again. I think that's the saying.
Yeah, dude, knock on wood and everything. But yeah, so today is a very speaking. You know what? Actually, Matt. Speaking of technical difficulties, so during the move and everything like that. Which, by the way, I moved in Ohio. Woo!
Yeah, that's why we have a huge freaking hiatus between episodes.
Right? Yeah.
Once we have an actual reason.
Yeah, this time we actually have a legit reason. But anyway, we don't have HBO Max anymore because we don't have fiber anymore. So I decided to get my Steelbook 10th anniversary Spawn, Todd McFarlane's Spawn, and I was gonna be like, okay, season 3. I have season 3 on here. Let's put it in. Episode 1, fine. Episode 2, fine. Episode 3, 4, 5, just dead. Like, nothing. They just it would, like, it literally would not run. And then episode 6, fine. So I'm just like, what the hell is going on? I even got Chris, friend of the podcast, Chris, who is not with us this time. I even got Chris to, like, look at the disc. He even did, like, a deep clean of it kind of thing. And episodes 3, 4, and 5 of this season do not work. 1, 2, and 6, absolutely fine. Perfect. So of course, dear listeners, imagine my surprise when I go to listen, like, and watch the whole thing, and all of a sudden, episode 3 just won't load. And then I find out that apparently, when Chris did some digging, some people did actually have an issue with their disc, and others did not. And I'm sitting here like, well, fuck off, man.
Yeah,
it's been like yeah, right. And it's been like 4 minutes in, so YouTube can't get me for saying fuck. So, but yeah, so this is gonna be very, very interesting. My show, the show I chose, and Matt's gonna have to take it away halfway through.
Yeah, and we're remote recording, and my dogs are loose, so they will, as you've already heard them barking and pitter-pattering around on the wood next to me. So it's going to be another fucked up episode.
I don't know about the listeners, but I haven't heard anything. Like, you said that, and I'm looking at you like, what the hell are you talking about?
Oh, yeah, I can hear them click-clacking. I'm like right on like half carpet and half wood, and they're like click-clacking every time they walk on it because I need to cut their damn nails. But they're probably going to do a loud bark a couple of times to jump scare the listeners. So.
Well, yeah. Either way, it's just like, I honestly cannot hear their pitter-patter, at least on my end. So, well, anyway, because, Matt is here, and because, everything like that. please tell me that we're not gonna get a surprise visit from fucking Twist. Please tell me Tony Twist is not gonna come here.
There's no way in hell. That motherfucker has been dead for a whole season. So
yeah.
We can just like the episode. Hey, what you guys doing in there? Hey, what's going on?
Hey, we locked the door.
How do you get in on our Discord call?
Seriously, how?
I'm on Discord.
How do you even know what Discord is?
Okay, I cut his ass out. Hopefully, he won't join us again. We'll see.
Let's hope so. So just like with seasons 1 and season 2, there's always just 6 episodes, and they're all normal size episodes. So everything's going well and everything's fine. And so some weird shit happens in this season, and
yeah, it's a very weird sudden ending to the show.
Well, yeah, but here's also the thing, listeners. This is the final season, so don't expect anything that we mention. Not much of it, at least. Don't expect it to be explained, because it literally ends on cliffhangers, and nothing is explained.
Yep, it is a whole lot of nonsense, a lot of setup.
A lot of setup for something good, but then we get no payoff because there was no season 4.
Yeah, it's a very bizarre show, but let's get to this bizarre show.
Yep, let's start off with episode 1 of season 3.
A Made Guy.
Okay, so I did not say anything that time because guess what?
What?
This episode has 2 titles, apparently.
Really?
Yeah, it's called A Made Guy / The Mind Killer.
That is bizarre as shit. Why the hell is it
that's fucking stupid is what it is.
Yeah, I was gonna say on HBO Max where I watched it, it was just called A Made Guy. So I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, on my DVD it says A Made Guy, but when I was looking to see, because my DVDs were kind of borked. So I went to see, for like online to see like if there's anything I could find, and some people, including the official Spawn Fandom .com site, they have it titled as The Mind Killer.
That is, well, maybe Todd changed his mind at some point. Who knows?
So we start off with last season on Hellraiser. I was about to say on Spawn. Last season on Spawn, and you get reminded that Wanda actually got to see Spawn. Al.
Yeah, she knows She knows it's Al. Yeah.
Well, she doesn't believe it's Al, but she does. It's like, I'm Al. No, you're not. You're a monster. And Baby's like, no, that's the Sandman. Yep. And just Jason Wynn doing what Jason Wynn does best, and yada yada yada. You want a recap of this? Just watch our season 2 episode, seriously, because
just the finale of it was honestly, like I said, the finale of 2 was my favorite episode of the series.
Yeah, it was a very fun one. It really was. And then we get our opening. Our
I said it opens on like a weird a house or a library. I don't know what the hell that weird ass building is.
I called it the mausoleum.
Yeah, immediately goes in. I wrote like Todd in the basement with a bunch of torture chains and shit. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, right. And he's just like, good and evil. Where does it come from? Oh, good. We all have good in us. But where's evil come from? When the lights are on, you think it's like crawling in the corners or something, hiding for its chance? Nah, sometimes it's born from within. I'm like, wow, you are a fucking edgelord. Glad to have you back, Todd. Glad to have
Todd's
you back.
Middle name, yeah. I was gonna say, I think this intro was probably his best attempt at acting I wrote.
Yeah, right. It really was. It really was. But then we actually start off with old man Cagliostro talking to about to talk to Spawn, but what is Cagliostro saying?
It starts in winter, I thought, and then I wrote a man in a dirty prison talks to himself about demons.
Oh, right. Don't let the demons take you. Yeah, no, you're right. Don't let the demons take you. And then he eats a bug.
and there's a flashback to some kind of chopper.
Yeah, and he's like in a prison cell, pretty much, rotting away kind of thing. And he's just like, "Don't let the demons take you. Don't let the demons take you."
Yep.
And then after that whole thing.
Yeah, and then he cut to Cagliostro on his old shit saying, Spawn, you can't join Malebolgia. And Malebolgia just continues to be like, what are you talking about, old man?
Like, Malebolgia's ears just twitched like, hey. And then, of course, Spawn's like, you don't know me, old man. And Cagliostro's like, dude, I did this whole thing with you. Like, I even told you that I was once like you. What are you not getting? And Spawn's like, shut up, old man. I'm edgelord. Yeah, but also,
we see he has like a dream of a night Spawn, a medieval Spawn, if you will, on some kind of crazy demonic horse. And then like in the dream, he gets his head cut off by the giant Spawn. He wakes up and saying, "Oh, what's going on?" And it was Cagliostro saying, "Oh, you saw the Black Knight. He'll keep coming until you choose."
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because the knight would always be like, who do you serve? And he's like, I serve no one. And then he dies. In his dreams, at least. But he can't actually die. But, yet. But, and then all of a sudden, like, Cagliostro's like, you have to choose your side. And Spawn's like, shut the hell up. Just because you know my dreams doesn't mean you know me.
Yeah, and he's still, I wrote, Spawn is still dumb as hell, not getting it, that Cagliostro told him 17 times that I was a Spawn, I know what's going on. And he's like, nah, Malebolgia's not real, shut up.
Yeah, seriously, it's like, dude, we are 13 episodes in. We are in season 3. Get your shit together, Al. Get your shit together, man.
Yep.
But then
Cagliostro says you have to take off the cape if you want to be free.
Yeah, it was just like, I'm sorry, take off the what?
He says cape at this point, I think.
Oh, does he actually say cape?
Because for the rest of the season they'll refer to it as something else, but we'll get there. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Sorry. Word of the day coming up later on in this episode, but anyway, it cuts to some dumb kids being dumb kids.
Yeah. See, four white dudes driving around, smoking and making fun of their friend who went to college.
Yep. Who was sitting in the backseat with him? He's like, dude, stop it, and all that stuff. He's like, come on, guys. And the driver's like, "Hey, don't worry. We're gonna go to this Italian restaurant and meet our old friend. You know our old friend, right?" It's like a deli,
so not a restaurant.
I don't know. It's like
an Italian restaurant. It's a candy store of some kind. I don't know.
It's some kind of like deli / restaurant. It's ran by an Italian guy who they knew from childhood. And then, it's like, hey, and, college when he's like, oh, wait, he's closing up. He's like, guy, relax. Just walk in with us. It's gonna be fine. Hey, you open? And the guy's like, hey, come on in. I'm never closed for you guys.
Yeah, I used to give you guys candy when you were kids. We know that the lead guy with the long hair is Petey. The college kid is named Joey. And then the one voiced by John DiMaggio is Frankie. And then there's one other asshole there.
Yeah. There's a few. Yeah, and there's some weird... there's some other weird guy there who always tries to repeat
80s punk looking idiot.
Yeah, who's like the right hand man where the boss is like, yeah, this is how we're doing it, and the guy's like, yeah, this is how we're doing it, kind of guy. It's like, what the hell? Just a
random hanger on, but Petey goes in and they're all looking around the store picking up stuff, but then Petey pulls out a gun and shoots the old man store owner. And everyone's freaking out, except for the the number 2 guy. It's just like, hey man, you made me drop my food. Everyone's like, oh my god, why'd you kill him? Why'd you kill him?
Yeah, hey, what the hell? I can't eat my cannoli now because it's got brains in it. And the lead guy is just like, yo, and the college kid is literally freaking the fuck out. And the boss is the boss guy's just literally takes him and drags him and is like, come on, let's go to the car. Let's think straight, we gotta relax, we gotta calm down. And as they're driving, the college kid is just like, I don't want to be a part of this, man. I can't. If the cops ask, I'm gonna let them know everything. Being a dumb kid and not having subtlety. Well, no, I mean dumb kid as in not keeping that to himself so that he could secretly go to the cops. But he just saw a man get his head blown off, so he gets a pass.
Of course. But he says he needs to pull over and needs to throw up in an alley. And as he does that, Petey, the leader, is saying, hey, man, if you can't we got to get rid of him, man. Frankie, it's your job to do it.
Yeah, Frankie, you take this. He ain't going to come home at all. And, of course, Frankie...
Spawn just uselessly watches in the background, of course.
Well, I mean, sort of, because, you know, we get a scene where Frankie's about to pull the gun on Joey, and Joey's like, "Hey, man, don't you remember me? I'm Joey. I'm your friend. Don't kill me." And you know, Frankie's like, "Shut up. I gotta do this." And then for some reason, there's like this weird glow, like this otherworldly glow, and Spawn's like, "What the hell is going on?" And Cagliostro's like, "Ah, the portal. It's opening. Wonderful."
Yeah. A death portal opens to receive Joey if he kills him. What will happen?
But then PD is just sitting there with fucking henchman number 1, and it's just like, and the henchman's like, "Dude, I don't think Frankie's got it in him." And PD's like, "All right, fine. Then they both ain't gonna live." So they get out, and he shoots and PD, you know, points the gun at Frankie, and who's hesitating because, you know, he doesn't want to be considered a rat. And just pulls the trigger, bullet goes flying, and then everything stops. Like,
he starts freaking out. Frank starts freaking out, like, what the hell's going on? He starts trying to run away from them in the alley.
And it just keeps looping.
Keeps coming right back to the alley right before he's being shot. We see Spawn kind of beat up Frankie a little bit while Cagliostro gives him the old, "You're not so different, you and him" speech.
Yeah, right. And Cagliostro's like, really? We're going to go through this again? Rolls eyes. Fine. Okay, fine. Look, you're not so different, you and him. He's taking orders just like you did. He's sacrificing a friend just like you did. And he's like, "How the hell and Spawn's like, "How the hell do you know this?" And he's like, "Dude, I know all the details of this." And he even goes down where you see like a flashback of Al and some friend, I forget what his name is.
Cagliostro mentions Sykes from the
Sykes,
war.
that's what it is. Yeah, Sykes.
And this is when we see, Al and Sykes are tied to a tree being tortured by some sort of people. Some sort of, indigenous group or something. I don't fucking know. But they're torturing Sykes, and Al refuses to give up information.
And Sykes dies.
No, it's not Sykes. Dies. It's a different guy. He's with somebody, and some guy and Al are being tortured, and then they're rescued by Sykes and the CIA people.
Oh right, but yeah. Either way, the kid and Al, like the kid was telling Al, "Don't tell him anything. Don't tell him anything," and Al did just that. Didn't tell him anything, and to the point where his buddy died.
Yep, and so he was tortured to death. And as Sykes and them show up, they say, "Jesus, Al, the information we gave you guys was fake in case you guys were captured, so you could have told them anything. It wouldn't have made a difference."
Yeah, well, I mean, then again, which is hilarious, because why the fuck wouldn't you tell them this?
Well, no, because then they would know their information was fake. But I guess they would be killed if they just told them the information. So it still was like a catch-22. It wouldn't have worked out.
Yeah, it was a very good catch-22. And of course, Al kills a lot of the indigenous people. And you know, Sykes is like, "Man, they were just women and children. Don't let the demons
Sykes
take you."
Sykes is his CEO, his commanding officer, who tells him, "Hey, man, you know what? Don't let the demons take you."
And we're like, "Oh, what?" But yeah,
and then he says but in the actual Frankie confrontation thing, Spawn is like, "I'm glad I killed them. They killed my friend, and I don't regret killing them at all. I did the right thing," and all this kind of stuff.
And Cagliostro's like, "You're really fucking stupid, you know that?"
Yeah, and of course Frankie's dumbass is just standing there like, "I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about. Can I leave?"
Can I go? And Cagliostro's like, "Nope. You gotta make a choice. You gotta make a choice." Yeah. Unfortunately, you gotta make a choice. So make a choice. And then as time decides to go right back up, he picks up Joey. Joey gets shot in the chest, and then fucking, I forget his name, Georgie or whatever.
Petey?
No, not Petey. The guy
Frankie?
Who was Frankie.
John
Thank you.
Frankie.
Just fucking everyone. And then Frankie's like, yo, Petey, don't shoot. And Petey's like, "What's it gonna be, man?" And so just Frankie shoots Joey right in the head, and Petey's like, "You did good. You earned your bones tonight."
Yeah.
And then they fucking drive away and leave. And Cagliostro's like, "Dude, I know I've told you this many times, but I'm gonna say it again to make it like an 18th or 19th time I've said this. But if you'd have killed Frankie, there would have been 2 souls going to hell, not 1."
Yep. He says you sent them right to Malbolgia, making him stronger if you did that.
And of course,
he says hell can't make these people choose; only they can choose for themselves.
Right? Yeah, because Al's just like, "Why? Why does Malbolgia play these games?" And Cagliostro's just like, "What the hell? You think he's pulling the strings with all this? No, people are making the choices, not him."
Yep. And Cagliostro says, "You need to trust me." And he says, "You need some. Well, if you don't trust me, you need someone else you can trust." And Spawn finally says, "Oh, Fossberg is the CO who he talked to, and that's the guy who told him like, hey, don't let the demons take you." So,
which speaking of which, we go back to that prison cell where he's like, "Don't let the demons take you." A door opens and he starts like scurrying away from the door, and you hear the sultry voice, the sultry voice of John Rafter Lee, also known as Jason Wynn, going, "Ah, hello there. Don't worry. I hope my friends have been treating you nicely. Don't worry. I'm here to set you free." And then just cuts out. And then that's the end of the episode.
Yep.
And now, I'm just sitting here like, So, question of the day. Well, for this episode at least. Question of this episode. So this whole thing with, the whole choosy thing. What were your thoughts on this as a whole episode? Because this was a strange concept for the Spawn series, because yes, there was a lot of things that Cagliostro rinsed and repeated. Yeah. But I mean, the whole concept of we actually got to see the portal open, and we got to see what goes on in a certain point of a certain sense.
Yeah.
I
was gonna say.
Yeah.
The first time I watched the episode, probably forever ago, I'll say that I had certain feelings about it. I was like, I wonder if I on a rewatch I'll feel differently. And I came to the pretty much same conclusion that I think this is my least favorite episode of the entire series.
Yeah.
I really didn't care for this episode at all. It was just the weird group of the four idiot weirdos, the repeating and still 3 seasons later, Spawn still refuses to get it. It's just so annoying. And also we talked about it in the Primal episode sometimes, and also in the first part of Spawn, the first couple seasons, about what's filler and what's not. This was the most fillery thing, except for the setup for Fossberg. It was I really did not like this episode. Yeah. And on a rewatch, I still did not really care for it.
Yeah, except for the Fossberg whole thing. Except for the Fossberg and all that stuff. And the whole portal thing. I'm just sitting here, I'm like, they could have done without this episode.
Sorry, you're cut off. I can't hear you. What'd you say?
Oh, sorry. I said, with the whole Fossberg thing and everything, this really could not have been in there. They could have taken this aspect out, because all this did was drive home the point that Al Simmons is a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
he still ain't listening. He is still not fucking listening when all he has to do is shut the hell up. He does not know.
I know, and also it continues my other what the fuck is he supposed to do thing with the don't kill people because you'll send them to Malbolgia, like you told him the last 2 seasons. But I'm then what the fuck is he supposed to do? Just I guess, but then I realized I guess that's the point of Cagliostro's ass being incredibly useless, because he's not helping people. He's not really hindering anything. He's just kind of being around. And I'm just you want Spawn to just be around and not help, and that's that'd be what the hell would be the help of that?
but see, Cagliostro is literally that mentor kind of guy, because he's absolute neutral, even though he's trying. And look, we'll get to him in detail later on, but in this season, he even points out at one point where he's like, I need to help you, but he doesn't do shit.
Yeah, he doesn't do anything. Al's an idiot, and these four assholes suck, and they just completely get away with it. It's a very annoying episode.
It really is, and I'm just what the hell is going on here? Why are we doing this?
Yeah, it's very, very ridiculous.
But then we get to the true episode 1, or as I like to call it, episode 2 of season 3. Which, Matt, say it with me. Yeah,
episode 2, Twitch is down.
No.
That's gonna be really fucked up on the recording.
No. Guys, please, listeners, don't stop your Twitch streams. Twitch is still going on.
Yeah. You can still stream all the video games you want.
yeah, you can still stream all the video games you want. That Twitch is not down. However, we start off with, Todd McFarlane again talking about at this point I started. Yeah, I started like ignoring him at this point because
I wrote down what he said. I was like, "What the fuck?" I thought I wrote down some kind of weird lyric. It said, "Weird people." I wrote weird looking people that make you turn, and then I wrote scars, burns. But I didn't mean to write. I wrote like a weird lyric. I didn't even know what the fuck it was. But yeah, he's talking about how judging people by the way they look. Have you ever seen somebody who was like scarred or disfigured, and you turned away from them? Just like that. That was basically what he said. I don't know if Murphy was getting any point to it, but then it just says Spawn is ugly, and he might as well be in the tomb. And then the episode starts.
Wow.
That's what McFarlane said. I was like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Wow.
I love him.
He's stupid.
Yeah, it's so funny. I love him.
Oh my god. And then
Cagliostro still on his bullshit. The alias Spawn's Purgatory.
Yep. Yeah, the whole Spawn's Purgatory and everything like that, and Cagliostro still trying to talk sense into Spawn, and Spawn's like, no.
Yep, Spawn's remembering his wedding, and we finally learn that the power and the green goo and everything on him is called necroplasm.
Yes,
this is the first time I think it's mentioned.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, is this also where Cagliostro actually, he's asked who he is, and we finally get a name drop?
Oh, Spawn's like wandering around after thinking about all the weird shit that's happened, and he finds Bobby the hobo and all those people, and says like, "Where is Cagliostro?" He says, "I don't know. He's a ghost like you, Al." And I was like, they finally mentioned like, what the hell? What do they think of this weirdo who's been just hanging around the alley too?
He's just here sometimes, and he's not. And we don't fucking know, man.
Yeah, but then I wrote Spawn actually does a Goliath from Gargoyle's Crawl, which is also voiced by Keith David.
Yes,
and he crawls up the side of the building. And I was like, "Hey, that's awesome!" But then he some bells he hears ringing, and it reminds him of the clown again. Which I'm like, I'm sorely missing the clown in this season so far.
Yeah, there is a very, very, very lack of clown here. But then, of course, everyone's just like, "Dude, relax. It's just the church bells, man."
Yep, he falls off the church and gets impaled on a giant cross, and then he awakens to Cagliostro finally.
Finally, he does. And of course, Cagliostro. Do we actually get that continuation, or does it cut to the next part of the story?
Yeah, he tells Spawn about his past. And
yes,
Spawn
that's right.
finally listens, and he says he's attempted to guide all the Spawns that have been.
Yeah, that's right. He's like, "I'm a guide for everyone." He's like, "Who the hell are you?" He's like, I was. When did Malbosia take you? He's like, "Yeah, so it was back in Knights and Chivalry. I was supposed to cut down those who were surviving. And you see, the Black Knight spawn."
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's like, oh, you were the same. And he's like, "You know what? One day, I just turned around, I just looked down and I said, nah, I'm not going to do this." So I turned to black magic, and I was able to, use black magic to disconnect myself from Malbosia. But at that time, when I went to, I've been known by many names. At that time, I was known as Merlin.
Weird as
hell. And I'm just like, so is that why you're so useless and saying that you want to be helpful, but you're not helpful? Is because you're Merlin? God damn.
So silly.
And then, of course, Spawn starts getting a little huffy with him about things like, "Oh, you were the Black Knight? Oh, well,
yeah, he says, "I want to learn the powers. I want to learn that stuff."
And of course, Cagliostro's like, "Dude, look, I can teach you, but you're not ready for it." "Wait, what? Look, I've seen the way you act. I've seen the way you do things. You won't. I'm not gonna teach you. Find someone else." We actually get Cagliostro getting a little pissy at Spawn finally after 3 seasons.
He wants to get his life back, and he's saying, "Well, if you want to get your life back, you have to do exactly what I say."
Yeah, he's like, you have to be willing to give up a lot, and you have to be willing to not keep questioning me, but you can't do it, so get lost.
Yep. And this is when we cut to Wynn talking to Chief Banks about Twitch.
Ah, yes. It's like, hello. So, your cop Twitch, he's starting to get a little bit nosy, too nosy about this red cloaked figure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Twitch is the best. He's a very thorough cop. Yeah, well, I want to know, I just want you to keep your eyes on him,
Yeah, and in case you forgot, just because Wynn sounds so cool and it looks so cool, in case you forgot he's evil, he feeds a puppy to a bunch of piranhas in this scene.
He really does.
Ridiculous.
Like you see a puppy like, oh, I'm so cute, and he goes down and pets the puppy, and he's just talking, and then in the next scene you see his piranha fish tank is bloodied. I'm sitting here, I'm like, wow, man, he's
Ow, the
evil.
edge. I cut myself on that edge.
Dude, just watching that scene, I'm just like, damn. Ow, fuck, yep, that's a deep cut. Which, he's like, keep your eye on Twitch, but I want you to find that red cloaked man.
Yeah, he says that Twitch mentioned when he was investigating the alley stuff that someone with a red cloak.
Right, yeah. He's like, all right, find out, keep an eye on him. He's not a danger yet, but just keep your eyes on him.
Yep.
And then do what you can about this red cloak guy. And remember, I own you, because he's a bad guy. He's gonna be like,
he's
look,
a bad guy.
now I'm gonna grab you by the balls. Yeah, he went to bad guy school. Yeah. We cut to the shooting range where we see Burke and Twitch. Yep. When you said Sam and Twitch, my brain immediately autofilled Twitch with Max. But yeah, anyway, sorry, Sam and Max reference for any 5 people who know what that is.
Well, I was gonna say yeah, but also their comic is called Sam and Twitch. That's why I don't call him Burke.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, either way, yeah. Sam and Twitch. Sam is shooting and missing every single thing. And he's like, this gun, it fucking sucks. And of course, Twitch is like, of course it does, sir. Yes, it is your lack of aim is the gun's fault. And Sam's like, you want to do better? Huh? Gives him the same gun that he was using, and just Twitch starts blasting away at the target, brings it close, and you see there's a fucking cross on the face of the target.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, shot a perfect cross.
Yeah,
into it.
perfect,
Like,
perfect, holy cross and everything, and Twitch just kind of has a smirk, and Sam's just like, lucky shot. Shut the hell up. And of course the Chief's like, hey, yo, I need you. You guys mentioned something about a red cloaked figure. Yeah,
during the priest killings.
Yeah, during the priest killings. Something tells me that he had an accomplice. Go back there and do your job. As he's making fun of both of them, pretty much, because he's the police chief. He can do that shit.
Yep.
So
and this is when we cut to Lisa Wu talking to her boss about the alley killings and shit again.
Yep. And, the boss is like, hey, you're being really creepy right now. What you got? Because, I didn't send you on a vacation. I sent you to have a horrible time. Just witty banter between the boss of someone who's very competent and, well, the very competent.
Yeah, but then Lisa goes in front of some weird ass altar and starts kneeling down and doing weird ritual we have no idea about.
Yeah, with water, has some water and stuff, and even mentions I'm gonna find this red cloak guy and I'm gonna bring you his head on a platter. I'm like, what? You're a reporter. You shouldn't say that. And then she starts she gets we get the obligatory titty shot, and she puts on a robe, and she's just candles, an altar, some water rubbed on her body, and she chants some weird fucking chant in a language I didn't even bother looking up.
It's very weird.
Assuming it's a real language, but
who knows?
But yeah, then after all that, we cut back to Sam and Twitch. Yeah, Sam and Twitch, who are going down to the prison area where they meet. Well, Chapel, who is. He's like, all right, Twitch, listen up. We're gonna ask him questions and stuff, but if he dares go on that tangent about dead guy come back to life, I'm out. He's just nuts. And of course, they start interrogating him about some of the people that Chapel murdered, and also just mentioning that maybe he had an accomplice or something. And of course, oh, he's back from the dead. Okay, Sam's like, I'm out. Fuck it, I'm out. And even Twitch was like, yeah, this is getting crazy. And then all Chapel mentioned was the red cloak. And Twitch goes back and says, I'm sorry, what'd you just say?
Yeah, immediately catches on, finally.
Yeah, and it's just red cloak and everything. His face was burnt. Oh, really? What was his name? Al Simmons.
Al Simmons.
I'm like, okay. and now we know how Twitch is the competent of the cops. So he goes as Sam's eating a fucking chili dog.
Yeah.
You know, hey, Twitch, what are you doing? Just doing some research, How's the chili dog? Light on the onions. That's going to be good for air quality. Funny guy. But he looks at a lot of Al Simmons, like articles on Al Simmons, and every single one of them was written by a reporter by the name of Lisa Wu.
Yep. And we also see that the thing we heard last season about Al Simmons having saved the president and then dying in a mission overseas.
And as he's digging a little deeper, he gets into like some files where it's like access denied. By the way, we're gonna track down who exactly it was before they actually figure out it was him, like his computer. He unplugs it, knowing that he's getting in a little too deep. So
unfortunately, on old Win security things, it flags that someone's investigating Al Simmons stuff again, and he is on Twitch's trail now.
Yep, and we also cut to the alley, where Twitch. No, sorry, was it the alley?
Twitch meets first? with Lisa Wu right before that.
Yeah, no, you're right. So he gets a phone call, like I think it was like an ominous phone call kind of thing, but we don't know who it is. We cut to a restaurant where Twitch meets Lisa Wu, and I love this scene. I actually like this scene because it's two highly intelligent, extremely competent people having a conversation. The very words I have to say that this is good because people are competent is hilarious. But Lisa and Twitch, they're like, okay, Twitch is like, you've done some reports on Al Simmons. And she's like, well, yeah, I mean, he did a lot of good things. And she's like, looks at him and she's like, you know what? I like you. You're a good cop. And I'm a good reporter. So here's what we'll do. You tell me things, I'll tell you things. And he's like, all right, ladies first. And, she starts off by saying, like, you know about the saving the president and everything like that. But you already know that. But here, what if I told you that Al Simmons was actually burned on a mission, like burned to death on a mission?
Yeah, and Twitch is like, a mission for the NSC.
Yeah, the NSC, right. And then Twitch is like, well, that's very interesting. There's a guy in a red cloak going around. Someone who had encountered him mentioned that he was absolutely burned.
Yep, the alley killer is also burnt.
Yeah, the alley killer is also burned. Is this a coincidence? And Lisa's like, this could be a coincidence. And Twitch is like, I don't believe in coincidences. Good day.
Yeah, yep. Lisa.
I'm just sitting here like, really? We just went there with the I don't believe in coincidences trope?
That's how good of a cop Twitch is.
Right.
We see Lisa goes to Wanda, and she talks to her about Al.
Yep, and, it was sentiment, like, not just like, oh, Al was a great guy and all. Like, Lisa actually gets a little deep for her britches, because she's like, oh, no, I don't mean he was a good husband. I mean, he was the one. And even, Wanda's just like, yeah, he really was. And then it started getting weird because, Cyan comes in. And Lisa's like,
outside Spawn's creepily listening in though. He hears it.
because he always does. And Lisa actually looks at one point because Al is inside the building, but he vanishes.
He's around somehow. Yeah.
Yep. And we
Cheyenne
get into,
shows up now, finally voiced by an actual kid.
Right.
Or Cyan.
And just like, hey, is this Al's kid? No, it's not. He couldn't give us kids. And, just starts talking a little bit, cutting a little too deep, and Wanda's just like, yeah, you need to just go. And,
and Lisa
does.
Lisa does see Spawn, and she kind of taunts him with an eye thing, like, I know it's you, and I know you're listening, you weirdo.
Yeah, I know you're listening, you weirdo.
Yep, but after that, we cut to Terry, who is still on the run from the NSC.
Right.
And we also know that Wanda does. I think this is when we find out Wanda does know that it is Al. That Spawn is likely Al.
Right, and then she does the if you can hear me, just I forget. She says something about it, But then we also cut to the alleyway where Twitch is just walking down the alley, and he walks to a specific alley, and he's like, I know you're there, and I want you to come out so I can see you. And of course Spawn's like, hey, you know what I did to the last cop, right? And he's like, oh, you're threatening me. What are you going to do about it? I'm going to shoot you in between the eyes, duh. He's like, all right, you got stones, I'll give you that. What do you want?
For a little guy.
Yeah, right. Everyone makes fun of his height. Like, it's like, come on, dude. He's the smart guy. It's like, all right, you're good for a little nerd. All right, what do you want to know? And he's just like, all right, I forget what he actually asks, to be honest.
He says that he knows that there was some kind of government cover-up in regards to what happened to Al. And Al says, okay, well, I'll give you a lead. The lead is the top of the NSC, that they're responsible for what happened, and they're also responsible for what's going on now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he tells him about Wynn being behind it, and he says, yeah, it was a government cover-up, and I am, like, they killed me, and they're all evil, so you better watch out. This is when we see Wynn talking to the Chief Banks again.
Yeah, that's right. He's just like, hey, so, one of your guys was looking through things where he wasn't allowed to, and Banks is like, it was Twitch. Yeah, he's like, all right, so find out what he knows. Yep. What do I do after I find out? Well, I hear that, cops in the line of duty get a special service. Just tell me where to send the flowers. I'm like, yeah, Jason Wynn, bad guy, must kill. And then, of course, we see the alley, where we see Sam and Banks, as well as Twitch. And, Twitch is like, okay, sir, so this is what I found out about the alleys. This is what I found out about the guy in the red cloak. Sam's like, all right, I'm gonna go and check out the alleys, see if our friend's still there. And then Twitch brings up the fact that this is going way deeper. It goes all the way up to Jason Wynn. And Banks is like, all right, you sound like you have a pretty solid lead. Well, good work. You've done your service well. He's like, thank you, sir. Turns around and gets shot in the head, point blank.
Yep. Yeah.
And then the episode ends with it fading to black, and Sam literally like, officer down.
Twitch is down.
Hey, you okay? Someone get a fucking ambulance. Twitch is down.
Yeah. Say the title of the episode.
Yeah, right. And yep. That's the end of the episode.
That's the end of the episode. A very, very good episode. I love this episode.
Yeah, what should have been the first episode of the season, but I guess you had to, be reminded that Spawn is a fucking idiot.
Yeah. It's just like just like most shows, whenever the main character is, well, not most shows. Like, what was it? Castlevania, the main party wasn't as interesting as the villains. But I'll say in this one, like seeing the normal people reacting to try to figure out what the fuck is going on with Spawn is also very, very fascinating because Al's so goddamn dumb.
Well, yeah. But I mean, like you said, it was like Castlevania. Season 1 and 2, fantastic because it was Castlevania. It was the main trio killing Dracula. Woo! Season 3 was kind of the weaker of the seasons in my opinion.
Oh no, I said 2 and 3 were way better than 1 in my opinion.
Oh yeah, dude, absolutely. But I just found it weaker but then again you were building up to certain things. But then season 4 is where it really took off. And honestly, season 4 was where it's like, hey, what's this? We can actually have people that are not the main characters be actually impressive and be cool. And then in this one, it's all the same. It's like, okay, we know Al Simmons. We know how he is at this point. Episode 1 comes out. It's like, yep, this is going to be typical. But then you get this shit right here. It's like, oh, this is fascinating to say the least. Yeah, but Spawn is dark and brooding, and he's got traumas. And shut the hell up. We don't care about cutting on edge.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, it was a very, very good episode just following Lisa Wu and following Twitch, who's a great character in this guy. Probably one of the best characters, obviously, in the show.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
It's just really, really fascinating following.
I do
more
love
Wynn finally.
Yeah, we got a little bit more Wynn, yeah. But I love the chemistry between Wu and Twitch. They have a wonderful chemistry. I'm like, dude, we need to see more of this shit going on. We need to see more of these two in action. And
they're incredibly competent and really fun to follow.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Sam has his moments, but it's just like...
He's funny, yeah. He's very funny.
Yeah, he's like the comic relief guy, but he does have good moments. But it's just like, we need more of this. And then he gets shot in the fucking head. So, question of the day for this episode. What was your initial response when, Twitch got shot in the head?
Well, just like knowing from the comics that Sam and Twitch have a comic series, I was certain that he wasn't going to die from it. But I was still like shocked, like, oh god, this is a crazy ass development. Someone's finally on the trail, someone's finally solving it, and they get killed. And also, they're just like how shitty the fucking chief is. It was like a really cool, crazy, like dramatic thing to happen. But yeah, if I didn't know that like Sam and Twitch have a long running comic series of their own in Image Comics, I would have been more like, oh my god, it's actually dead. That's fucked up.
Yeah. Well, for me, as you may know, listeners, Matt is the comic guy. He does all the comic book stuff. I'm usually music and like visual / audio kind of thing, like shows and stuff like that. But Matt knows all about the comics. So imagine my surprise when I see Twitch getting shot in the head, and I'm just like sitting here like, they did not just fucking kill the best character, which I should have expected it because, he's the best character. He got killed. Of course the best characters always get killed. But then I was using HBO Max at the time. So when I went to see the rest of the episodes, episode 6, the thumbnail they use is Twitch on a computer. And I'm like, either this is a flashback or something's not right. But like I was initially like, dude, they did not just kill my favorite guy. Which usually, if I have a favorite guy, they usually die. Castlevania was like one of the few exceptions because my favorite guy. I mean, there's quite a few, but Isaac and Hector, they never died.
Oh yeah. They're the fucking best.
Yeah. They did not die, but yeah, just oh my goodness. Oh, actually, you know what? I should have made a joke, Matt. I should have said my favorite guy, Dracula. He didn't die. Oh wait, yeah, he did.
Well, he dies all the time. It's fine.
Yeah, every so many years he dies. Well, then he comes back, somehow. And in Castlevania 4 it was cute, but now Nocturne's out, and that's gonna get very interesting. I wonder how the hell they're gonna do that. That might be a series for another time. That's not a hint drop, by the way, because that's not the next series I chose.
I will see. We have too many shows that we're piling up, but that's the joy of the podcast.
And hey, by the way, Matt.
Yeah.
Just last tangent before we continue on, because it's gonna be the Matt section of this show, because
I know,
this is the
my
part where
notes are like, very
But I am still not, but at the same time am looking forward to Invincible, because I know you want me to watch that one.
Oh yeah, that's just fucking incredible.
Yeah, and I know they're working on
right now.
Yeah. I know they're on season 2 right now, working on it at least right now.
They're halfway. They're halfway through season 2.
Okay, they did the halfway already. So
the first 4 episodes aired, and the next 4 aren't until next year.
I don't know. I don't know. It's just we'll get to that at the end of this episode, because right now Twitch is down, and now we have to get to the next episode 3 of season 3. Seed of the Hellspawn.
Of Hellspawn, not the Hellspawn.
Sorry. Of Hellspawn, but either way, whatever. I just added the whatever. Anyway, so what does our creator of Spawn have to say about this episode, Matt?
This episode opens up with old Todd trying on a bunch of gross masks. He's just talking about how we all hide behind. We all wear masks, metaphorically speaking, of course. If you want to quote the Mask movie. He's just talking about how we hide behind stuff, and then it opens on Twitch bleeding in the alley. And Chief says, "Oh, I saw it. It was that Spawn guy. He shot him with the." he shot him, and then Sam goes crazy, runs off. They're like, "Oh my god, we gotta find this lunatic. We gotta kill him." Him and all the other cops start running down the alleys looking for Spawn. As Spawn just around the corner, kind of just walks off nonchalantly in a very funny way.
Absolutely.
Al kind of hides with Cagliostro for a little bit as Twitch and them try to find out where he went. Cagliostro says, "Hey, I have this crazy magic book on how to escape the cloak." And they don't think they call it a cloak at this point, so they don't refer to it as the other word yet. But this is when he finally says what the real problem is: Malbolgia. And he says Malbolgia is the mind killer. Now, do you get this reference, Ben?
The Mind Killer?
Yeah.
Aside from the fact that, episode 1 of this series was kind of wonky with that, you're gonna have to refresh my memory on this one.
The phrase "fear is the mind killer" is it familiar?
I've heard of that. I've heard that said a few times. I forget what it was.
It's from Dune. I know it's in. I think it's from Dune.
Dune. Okay, yeah. I'm not familiar with Dune,
but it's been used in a bunch of stuff like a whole bunch of games and books and stuff have referenced it since then. But yeah, the main phrase is "fear is the mind killer," and he says Malbolgia is the mind killer in this series.
I mean, that would make sense. That would make sense because Malbolgia, it being the big old demon man himself, he would be considered fear. So
yeah, he's pretty strong in hell as of right now in the series anyway.
Right.
Al must become a new, better man to be free, and Cagliostro says he can get his old face back one day, like he did if you follow this plan. And this is when he says, "Okay, how do I do this?" Like, well, there's a way to temporarily appear human. And he says, "Tell me how to do it, old man." And he says, "Fine. You have to envelop yourself in your shroud."
Oh, you have to shroud yourself in your shroud.
Yep. This is when we cut to Sam in the hospital with Twitch. Twitch eventually awakes, and he's kind of just like really groggy. He's like, "Hey, Twitch, how you doing?" And he says, "What's going on? Who are you? Where am I?" And he's like, "Oh my God, you lost your memory." But it does show that Twitch is back for the most part.
Yep, Twitch is back. Thank goodness for that.
Hell yeah. We cut to Cyan visiting her blind old granny, who it took me like 2 watches of this series to try to figure out whose grandmother this was.
It's Cyan's grandmother.
Yeah, Cyan's grandmother, but they refer to her as Granny. I think she's her great grandmother.
All right.
Because we find out later that she is Wanda's grandmother, I believe. Mm-hmm. It's all very confusing, but like we see a tall man bald man show up to the house, and he's like, "Hey, is Wanda here?" And he's just like, "Oh no, she's not here." And then she recognizes Al from his voice as Al now appears human once again after covering himself in his shroud. He's taken on his human form again, and she says like, "Oh, I recognize you. I always recognize your voice." And we see that, Wanda visits his grave and prays for him. The granny says she visits his grave all the time and prays for him. And then she says she's had visions of him, like, in a shroud or in a cloak or something like that. And he's just like, you know what's going on. Okay. This is kind of weird for me, but I guess I'm going to leave. We see in the background her cat is like really afraid of Spawn and like growls at Al and hisses and runs away. She says that she wants him to stay so they can wait together for Wanda to get back, and he's saying, no, I gotta get out of here. And as he wanders off, we see Cyan say, "Hey, it's a sad man," because somehow she still recognizes Al as Spawn, even though he's human right now.
Right? Yeah, kids have a very, very interesting power. It seems.
Yeah, but also Cyan is just a very fun little, cute little window character for them. We see in the hospital, Twitch is being talked to by the doctor. It says that he has brain swelling, and that is why he still has memory problems. But he is awake now. Wynn again calls Banks and saying, "What the hell? I thought you're supposed to kill him. You're not supposed to put him in the hospital." He's like, "Hey, don't worry about it. I'll take care of him." Twitch doesn't have any memory. He doesn't remember what happened, so we're still safe. But Banks does say that Spawn told Twitch everything, and I'm still like, how is Wynn still trying to like go behind Al's back? He like Al last season after doing that cool ass raid thing where he took the whole building down, threatened him saying, "Don't come after me, don't come after Wanda, stay out of our way." But he's still like in the background trying to start shit. Mm-hmm. So ridiculous. And then we finally cut to Terry again. Terry is meeting somebody in the park. We know by Mr. Sullivan, who's voiced by I wrote the guy's name. He plays Red Foreman in that 70s show, and also he's like from RoboCop and stuff. The huge voice actor or huge actor and voice actor.
You said he played Red. He's the old guy that calls everyone a dumbass, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
His name. He has a significant name because he's been in a ton of like 80s movies and stuff, like 90s movies too. But he's voicing Mr. Sullivan, and he gives him all the information that he has on the NSC and how to help take them down. And
okay.
This is when...
Nothing. Go on.
Okay, I was saying, Win is in his office and like nobody's taking any calls from him. No one's getting communication. People like the vice president is like not returning his phone calls. He's like, "What the hell? Everyone's supposed to be on my payroll. Why is no one paying attention to me?" But then he gets a call from the clown. Yay, he's back.
And then the clown.
And he tells him, "Hey, you're being betrayed. They're coming after you, and it's Sullivan. He's coming out. You're about to be really screwed. So you better get out of there." We see. Oh, he tells me, Terry is talking to Sullivan, and he thinks like, "Hey, you're about to go downwind, so you better be careful." Terry talks to Wanda, and he's like packing up his bags in the house, like, "We got to get out of here. We got to go into hiding. Everything's about to turn down for the NSC again, this time for sure. So Wanda, we need to get out of here." And she refuses. And he's saying like, "You think being a lawyer is going to help you? Not get picked up by this? We're all going to be dead if you don't, And she's like, "I refuse to hide." He's like, "You're right. They're after me. I'll go hiding myself." She's like, "No, Terry, don't go." And he just walks out of the house, gets in his car, and drives off and leaves because he's saying he's keeping them safe. The next day, Win is getting constant harassment from the press. They're talking about how, we find out that Mr. Sullivan is the second head of the NSC, and they are all the information on Win has been turned over by Terry and him, and now he's being investigated, and like why he's really on the ropes now. Chief Banks also is saying the walls are closing in. I don't know what we're gonna do. They're completely like utterly screwed. We see two agents from something kind of just like busily coming into Win's office, and his secretary is trying to stop them, but Win kind of escapes out of a back exit with some files and papers out, just like disappearing. And then we see, now we got to Spawn, who is using his cloak powers again, and this time he turns into Terry and returns to the house to meet Wanda. And then at this scene, he does sleep with Wanda as Terry, which is very fucked up and weird. But then the scene kind of fades out after that. We see Lisa is back in the alleys, and this is when she says she's looking for a man in a shroud. He's kind of asking all the homeless people who knew her from last time, who during the standoff, she kind of got in with them. And she's saying like, "Oh, he's down the alley." And then Cagliostro's like, "Oh shit!" Or Cagliostro kind of like wanders around the corner saying, "Who are you looking for? A man in the shroud." "Oh my god, it's you!" And he kind of freaks out.
Yeah. Okay, says, I do remember that. That was hilarious.
Yeah. That was very, very funny. He says, "Oh my god, it's you, Jade." She kind of gives like an evil smile, an evil like glare at him, and he kind of just like starts trying to run. He flees in fear from her. And this is when we see Al again has flashbacks to Wanda being afraid and seeing his ugly, decaying face, and he just freaks out. He gets up out of the bed, and he sees like maggots on the pillow, and he sees his skin is kind of falling off again. So he quickly flees out while he's like falling apart from having to use the cloak powers too long. And then he goes to Spawn. Spawn finally returns to the alleys and goes to Cagliostro. And he says, "Oh, we have bigger problems than you're, sleeping with your wife. Celestial warriors are now on our trail." And he says, like, Spawn's like, "What? They're gonna send some woman to try to defeat me?" Then he's just like, this dude, or Cagliostro's like, this woman is like incredibly strong and incredibly powerful and incredibly dangerous. She's killed people like Genghis Khan and other Spawns, and her name is Jade. And that is the end of episode 3.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, so I assume that this was like a last minute shift from the Angela storyline.
I'm still upset about that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, this was definitely, I was gonna be, you know what, before we get on this tangent, question of the day, Matt.
Yeah.
How do you like Angela's replacement?
I think it's kind of, I'm not 100% sure what she is. I thought, is she human or is she an angel? Because he refers to her as a celestial warrior. She's been around since Genghis Khan time, so that's like hundreds of years. So she's hundreds of years old. Like it's not really clear.
What Jade is in this is because this was also part in the comic where Angela was supposed to find Spawn and attack. You'll understand why that is what it was supposed to be in the next episode. However, in the next 2 episodes, I should say. But however, no, because of the fucking big the big whole spat with Neil Gaiman and Todd McFarlane, with Neil Gaiman winning, so Angela got to be in one episode. Got to be in one episode in season 1. And then she never appeared because that's when the whole spat was coming on, but they needed to keep a certain continuity of the story from the comics in here, so they created Jade instead. I did some digging and I was not able to find Jade in the Spawn comics at all. Maybe I wasn't looking at the right sources, maybe she wasn't but with the story that goes on with Jade, you'll understand, like, oh yeah, this was supposed to be Angela, but it just turns out that it's not the case.
It's such a weird show.
Yeah, no, she is 100% an angel, not a human. Even though it's not like described very well, with the next few episodes, she is definitely she's definitely an angel, not a human working with the angels.
Okay, yeah, I was completely not sure what the fuck was going on with that.
Yeah, this show is very good with keeping things nebulous.
Yeah. I was looking. I just looked online too. Yeah, she was created for the animated series. So
okay, yeah. So right, my sources were correct. Yeah, she was literally the replacement for Angela. Which, by the way, all of you new listeners, if you're listening to season 3 right now, this is like the first time being introduced to us. First off, I'm so sorry because of the whole recording situation. Secondly, what the hell are you doing? You don't start at season 3 and work your way down.
Yeah, you goddamn weirdos.
But more importantly, if you want to hear my whole rant about the whole Angela situation, go watch season 1. And for those of you who have been watching us for a while, just if you want to refresh your course, just go to season 1 of Spawn. You'll hear my my upsetness about that whole situation and what happened. But either way, yeah, just like with Jade, I'm just like, at this point, because at this point, this was the only episode, I'm just like, oh, so, we're finally getting introduced to, Heaven getting in the mix, finally.
Yeah, even though after that weird celestial office thing that Angela kind of stormed into in the first season, that was never addressed or brought up again, too.
Right, yeah. Especially, it's like, sometime in season 1. Hi, Angela. You're not going to be able to do shit. Oh, yeah? Watch me. And never heard from again.
Yeah, another thing that's kind of, I guess, maybe kind of spoilery, but a character that I always really liked in Spawn comics and stuff, the Redeemer, who was like the Heaven version of the Hellspawn.
Yeah, I know Redeemer.
You know who the original first Redeemer is, correct?
I forget who it is, actually.
It's Jason Wynn.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, Jason Wynn becomes the first Redeemer.
Which, by the way, listeners, none of this gets explained in this series. So yeah, it's
spoiler
technically
alert, he never becomes the Redeemer.
Nothing about the Redeemer happens in this show. So I guess technically this is not a spoiler thing that we're talking about. But are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah, Jason Wynn. It's very, very early on in the comics too. It's probably within the first 20 or so issues. It's very
wait. No. We're gonna take a pin and we're gonna put a pin on this conversation because we should not get too sidetracked because like we always do in season finales.
Well, I'm giving you more time to talk because I'm gonna have to fucking read through my mishmash notes for the next 2 episodes as well.
Yeah, I know. Look.
But what's about does come up later.
I'm looking at my Steelbook freaking thing, and I'm like, why have you betrayed me?
Yeah, but no, it's we're not going to get much more Win, unfortunately. We're only going to have one more episode, I think, with a lot of Win in it. But I was going to say that he turns into Redeemer very early on, and also we talked about it a little bit that the setup for what happened to Al did have more demonic stuff in regards to it, and with Win before he becomes Spawn. So it's a whole bunch of stuff happened. But it's yeah. But yeah, the first Redeemer, a character who I always loved just aesthetically and, like conceptually. Yeah, the first the Redeemer was Jason Wynn. Who's fucking, that's insane.
Wow, what a mess.
Yeah, what a mess up. But no, they decided to make an original character like Jay, which can work out sometimes. Look at Harley Quinn and X-23, two animated series characters who became huge in the comics. So, yeah, you never know.
Right, yeah. Well, as we're doing that, speaking of this whole battle between heaven and hell, and how heaven and hell works exactly, or in this case, how heaven works, that we get into a little bit more of this with episode 4 of season 3. Hunter's Moon.
This is probably the least in sync we've been since Kuvira's Gambit.
Oh, you stop that. You do not bring up Kuvira's Gambit.
No, I'm saying that episode is like when we're the most out of sync with each other. This is about as bad as that. It opens up with Todd talking about human demons, who's good and who's really evil. And then he fucking, I'm about to say, I remember in my notes, he licks a sword.
Oh my god, you're right. This was the episode where he licked the sword, wasn't it?
No, he tests the edge and pretends to cut himself on it and then licks his thumb. But
right, yeah, that was the episode. Oh, I forgot about that episode.
Ow! Literally the edge.
Literally, yeah. Oh, 90s. Look, for all the things that the 90s did right, Todd McFarlane, why did you have to do what's so wrong? Anyway, please continue.
Well, speaking of edge, it opens up on 3 men beating a sex worker named Lakeisha. It's just like these 3 guys abusing her. One of them's her pimp, and the other 2, I guess, are just his muscles. We see a flashback to Al getting into a fight with Wanda, resulting in him hitting her. Now, this has much further reaching consequences and importance in the comics, this scene. But I'll go into that later on. Spawn is about to kill the 3 men in the alley when the cops show up to stop them, and they kind of just leave her alone. We see that the sex worker refuses to make a statement and get the men put away because she knows it'll just result in her getting in trouble and getting killed. And then we see the 3 men kind of following another young woman, a blonde young woman who gets just off the train. They kind of walk around her, they're following her, and then they kind of stage an attack with 2 of the goons to pretend to harass her. And the main pimp guy walks up saying, "Hey, leave her alone." And he kind of beats them up. And he's like, "Hey, are you okay, young woman?" And then she's so thankful to him. And then he gives some guards some money to take her and get her something to eat so she can be safe. He's like, "Oh, wow, people in this city really are nice." And it's just what a weird, ridiculous setup.
Right. Now, I mean, I guess that's the whole part of propositioning someone, so
yeah, no, yeah, but the guy's literally setting her up to think that the guy's a good guy, even though he is a pimp trying to set her up to take her later. We see the Chief Banks visits Twitch in the alley, or not in the alley, in the hospital.
Wow, I was gonna say he's already in the alley. Damn.
Yeah, he's already back in the alley again. It's a flashback. No, it's the Chief visits Twitch and doesn't want to put him back to work, but he says, "Hey, here's a Medal of Honor." And he kind of gives it to him, and then Twitch kind of has a little bit of a flashback to the alley, but he's not really sure what happened still. We see the police are investigating the guys that were beaten up in the alley. We see that apparently the guys are completely torn up and beaten up, and we have no idea what happened. And we see that the girl who's being covered up by the police, or it's the 2 guys who escorted her away, who were actually working for the pimp, are beaten up in the alley. We see that the girl is in a blanket and with the police, and she sees Spawn overlooking her, and they kind of make eye contact for a little bit. We don't really know what happened though. And then in the hospital again, we see Chief Banks talking to one of the nurses, and we see that this nurse actually works for Jason Wynn. And she says, "Hey, you can give somebody an embolism if you just put a needle in their IV tube." And she kind of just winks at Chief Banks saying, I'll take care of Twitch, don't worry about it. She goes in and she's trying to do it, but he keeps trying to he's like, "I don't want to get out of here." Twitch just somehow has a sixth sense of I might be in danger. And he gets a call about the attack in the alley. And once again, they're like, "Okay, the alley killings, it's happening again. What the hell? That guy didn't seem like he would be doing this." And so Twitch wants to go to the scene, but Sam's kind of just like, hey, you don't need to. He's like, no, I want to get back to work. I got to go back there. This is when we see Spawn talking to Cagliostro, saying, hey, I kind of slept with Wanda as Terry. And then Cagliostro literally says, man, that's fucked up. You slept with your wife while pretending to be her current husband? You're fucking sicko weirdo, man. Spawn knows, like, hey man, you did all kinds of evil stuff 800 years ago, so shut up. You're not so great. And he's just
we're like, not. I thought you were about to do the whole "we're not so different," you and I. I'm like,
yeah, I know exactly. Like
the man didn't.
Exactly like he did to him earlier.
The man didn't like go to a person that he loved in their husband's skin.
Yeah, he fucking freak. And he says, doing this isn't gonna make up for what you've done before. You need to like, I'm doing all of what I'm doing now, Cagliostro says, because I want to save a Spawn, because I was never able to save one before, but I think I can help you. And he just kind of like walks off. He's like, you can't be doing this like weird freaking creepy cuck shit. He says, where's your honor? There was no honor in what you did.
Oh, and, like, God, here we go again with the whole honor thing.
This is another whole fucking... Yeah, this is the first time we got a new aspect of Cagliostro's nonsense. Now he's just talking about honor all the time. This is like out of nowhere, but it's like, okay, fine. He has another bit. That's now that he's not repeatedly telling him and repeatedly ignored by Spawn. Now he can just tell him about honor. Sam and Twitch are now in the alley, and they see like, hey, these guys weren't like chained up or shot or whatever like all the other alley killings. These people seem to have been clawed and bitten up. This is not the normal alley killer's MO. And this is when we see Lisa kind of show up, and she's kind of investigating too. And she's like, hey, Twitch. She recognizes Twitch, and she says, oh my God, you were shot. Are you okay? And he's saying, yeah, I think the alley killer did it. And she's just like, that doesn't sound right. But okay, man. I don't think that's not really, and I don't think Spawn did these weird claw and biting killings either. This isn't, neither of these are his MO. Something's up. But then we see that Lisa now sees the blonde woman who was picked up by the two guys also, and she kind of like follows her out of the building, or out of the alleyway. And this is when we see Twitch seems a little bit different, but he seems a little bit off while in the alley, kind of having a little bit of flashbacks. Sam tells him, hey man, we got to get you home. You need to rest up. And then we see Lisa going to the club, and we see her kind of investigating, going into a bathroom, and we see the blonde woman is in there, and she's with some guy, and she's kind of like, hey, what are you doing here? And then we see the woman turn into some weird fanged monster, and she's about to kill the guy, but then like Lisa kind of like, shoos him off, and then he gets out of there and runs away. And then she says, hey, what's a creature, Lisa says, what's a creature like you doing here? And she's like, yeah, I'm working for your team with the Angels. So, I got to stay out of my way and I'll kill a Spawn. Don't worry about it. They're saying that you're screwing up, Lisa, so I'm going to take care of it. And we say, like, she's like, what the hell? Why are they using your... And then we find out that this woman was assaulted and killed by a hell Spawn, which does not sound like any of the Spawns I've seen. That's completely out of nowhere. But we see that the pimp that... they're obviously trying to attack her, so she doesn't feel bad about killing those people. Everyone here has been so evil, so she doesn't mind killing them, but she is working for heaven, technically. And then this is when we cut to the pimp is walking around the church, because now she's trying to get him near the house spawn, because she knows the spawn's around that area. The pimp's kind of like, hey, wherever are you? I'm gonna cut you up. And he kind of like cuts the woman's face a little bit, and then she kind of just starts beating the shit out of him. But Spawn jumps in, thinking he's saving her. And we see that she gets burned by the sun when he jumps in and like tries to fight the guy off and like kills him. And then she jumps into a coffin underground. And Spawn's like, what the hell's wrong with you? And he kind of like learns her history, learns that she was killed by a hell Spawn, and learned that she's turned into this weird monster, which they didn't really explain how or why. But she jumps out. She actually for the first time ever giving Spawn an actual fight. And he's actually losing, getting scratched up and beaten by her, this weird pseudo-vampire. And eventually, though, he does break the windows, letting in the sunlight, and that is how he eventually ends up killing her. Even though they were seemingly close before she started trying to fight him. Let's see. He can't believe that heaven would be using vampires to do this. Like, what kind of heaven would use monsters like you to do this? And then finally, as he's all wounded and beaten up for the first time ever, he kind of like falls into the coffin as well. Oh, sorry, my dog's over here sneezing. Anyway, Lisa confronts him in her full jade outfit, and he's kind of like, "What, are you trying to kill me too?" And she's like, "No, I don't want to fight you while you're hurt. I want to fight you when you're full strength." And she kind of like kicks over a thing, and he gets like trapped in a weird grave. And like, this is really weird. After she leaves him all wounded and beaten up, Spawn like gets surrounded by bugs and bats and worms and stuff, just like random night creatures, and then they just kind of heal him up. And this is when the episode ends, with him being healed by bats and shit. Yeah, so, very weird. Honestly, I'll say this was my favorite episode of the season.
This one was?
Yeah, I loved and also the animation whenever the vampire woman was on screen was like incredibly high quality 90s anime style, which was very, very weird. Like, I'm like not exaggerating. It was like a completely different studio animated everything with the actual vampire. Like when she was on screen, whenever she was doing anything, the fight scene and everything was completely animated by this like a completely different team, and it looks incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. It does look like someone else did that, and oh my goodness, just the fact that it was like this episode was actually kind of fun, and unlike with like the Violator, in season 1, who's like, hey Spawn, get your shit together. We actually had like Spawn not just one side victory kind of thing.
Yeah, actually getting his ass kicked. I think it was the vampire that like knocked him into the coffin and kicked him down there, and she was kind of just like taunting him with her weird like monster face.
Something like that, but yeah.
It was a very, very good episode. I love the mystery. I love the setup with the girl, and like, it was so cool. I would say it made clear what the hell the actual nature of it, because like I know in Spawn there are vampires around and about. I know that they're like a being that exists, and also like the whole vaguely connected Image Comics universe with like Invincible and stuff like that. That they're like, yeah, and I looked it up, like, yeah, vampires exist. They're completely separate entities from the Heaven and Hell Spawn stuff. And also just like explaining finally another actual warrior bounty hunter being sent by the heavenly powers is also very interesting.
Right, yeah.
But I wish they went into like, because all we know that she was sexually assaulted and killed by a hellspawn. I don't know if that resulted in her becoming a vampire or if it was completely unrelated. It was just not very clear.
Right, they really didn't. All fucked up. They really didn't explain how she became a vampire, but it's just like, hey, she's a vampire, so.
Or no, they never refer to her as a vampire. They just kind of like say she's a weird blood-drinking, fanged creature that gets hurt by sunlight.
Look. Let's be real. I'm just saying vampire because she's
that's what I did too.
Vampire,
I wrote my notes. Yeah. Like, she's a vampire, but how and why?
Right. Yeah. But here was my question of the day. I know you know the comics very well, but question of the day. How do you how do you feel about the whole like Heaven like pulling out all the stops and just like using like creatures of the night like this to actually get their dirty work done?
Yeah,
like that whole concept.
Yeah, I loved it because like a vampire working for Heaven is very cool, and also just reminds me of fucking Angel and Buffy. Angel working for the powers that be, and he was pretty fucking cool. But yeah, like I said, the character I really, really liked. I wish she didn't get killed at the end. She was talking about how she didn't deserve to die, and when she was dying, it was like a really sad thing for this character who's like obviously had a really shitty, terrible life and was getting revenge on shitty, terrible men in a really cool way. She didn't deserve to die like that. And also, like, I kind of glossed over it in my notes because I was kind of speeding through it. But like, she and Spawn actually connected, and like she was like sympathetic to him, and they're like not, or like he was sympathetic to her. Having rescued her, having realized that she's some kind of weird creature, but they still fought and she still ended up dying. Like, it was a really compelling character that I really wish stuck around more. And I also love that she was working for Heaven. That's a very cool idea.
Right, yeah.
Because also, I guess it's like, it's kind of like, yeah, Lisa's taking too long. We don't have the rights to Angela. Just send a vampire. Maybe she'll get it done, even though I can't imagine a vampire successfully killing us Hellspawn, but still.
Yeah, but unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Because that's not the replacement for Angela, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but I do like the concept of, see, when it comes to Heaven and Hell, I grew up with a Methodist dad. So I grew up seeing that the world was very black and white, heaven is good, hell is evil, blah blah blah. It's very clean cut and dry kind of thing. But when I see things like in like this, where it's like, oh, heaven's not as good as you think it is because they will use the same tactics as hell in order to get what they want, kind of thing. Or like, like in Devil's Carnival 2, where it's like you actually get to see what heaven's like and they're kind of really shitty too. It's like I like seeing, like, it's like they're just two different sides of the same coin, kind of thing, and they'll do anything they want. I like that concept because it puts a little bit more, like, yeah, what, you think heaven's gonna actually care? No, they're gonna do the same thing like everyone else. And
Yeah,
I like that
absolutely
concept.
love it. Yeah, it's very, very cool. Because also, when I was gonna say, I remember in season 1, I said, like, at the end, I want you guys to give me like a couple of minutes to just go into the whole nature of all things and how, like, the world of Spawn ends and, like, the actual nature of heaven and hell and God and the devil and all that, like, after we finish it, because I do still want to do that. But yeah, I love Spawn. I love the Spawn universe's version of it. It's a very, very, very compelling and very interesting. And, like, yeah, how fucked up and bad the heaven is. Yeah, most things, whenever, like, either if it's Bayonetta or Devil May Cry or, like, any number of anime or any number of comic stuff, whenever you actually get to, like, the actual ethics, or, like, Sandman is also that universe is another great example of, like, the dichotomy of how heaven actually works and hell actually work in a like, more competently, modernly written, like, celestial landscape is always very fucking cool. That's like the Marvel comic stuff with the Thor Love and Thunder movie, which wanted to know how, like, the gods and all that stuff. It is really, really cool. And I do love that concept whenever it happens and stuff. And I think they're doing it very interestingly. I wish the show had more time to go into what's going to happen, but they only have whatever they can work with. But I did, like, really appreciate them using the vampires and all that kind of stuff. It was very cool.
Yeah, yeah. But speaking of, like, this whole concept of heaven and hell, let's bring it back down to earth with the second to last episode of season 3. So season 3, episode 5, Chasing the Serpent.
Why are you doing so fucking? Are you purposely trying to make us go?
No, okay, look. I told you
every single time you've, like, to put so much space between the words that is fucked up every time.
No, Matt, you gotta realize, I'm trying to match with you with what I hear, and so, on my end, I'm matching with you. On your end, it's fucking, the lag is, like, kinda, because we're both trying to do the same thing. We're both trying to match with each other, and it's getting fucking weird. Which is why you're gonna have to...
recording.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is gonna be a horrible recording.
Well, yeah, like, you look over, your thing's still going, correct?
Yeah. Let me double check. Yes, I do see that I'm still recording, almost for an hour and a half, mind you.
Yeah. Well, I'm at. Let's see. I'm gonna wait 10 seconds and say 1:22.
Yep. The moment. Oh, yeah. We're like a few seconds off in the recording then.
Oh, great.
But hey, Matt.
I'm in an hour 22 minutes. All right.
Matt.
Yeah.
All right. Give me a moment, and I'll tell you. I will say now when I hit an hour 22 and 20 seconds. Okay.
Okay.
Now.
Yep. We're pretty spot on.
Oh, okay. We are good. It's just your audio is definitely not syncing with me, at least. But apparently, I'm syncing with you very well. So
as long as when I get your recording, there's not a weird slowdown, weird shit happening again like last time, and we should be fine.
Let's hope so. But anyway,
but yeah, episode 5, Chasing the Serpent.
Yep, episode 5, Chasing the Serpent. Todd McFarlane, give us your wisdom, please.
Yeah, Todd McFarlane talks about masks and dark wishes. But I also wrote, is this his laziest intro yet? Because he's like really phoning it in with this one. He's like, yeah, masks, dark wishes. Anyway, turn off your lights. Time for Spawn.
And now for Spawn, so turn off your lights. Thank God we do not have that anymore.
Yep. We see some kind of crazy jungle. Al is on a boat, and he's kind of just like going down the river of some foreign country. He gives the boatman some cash, and the guy kind of calls him, like, as Al Simmons gets off the boat, the guy calls him Yankee Pig and spits in the water. We see a big giant temple with a bunch of monks praying around some sort of ritualistic mask. And then we see one of the monks is actually Fosberg, his CEO from earlier in the season. He wants peace, and he's trying to seek peace. but then Spawn or Al, not Spawn, he's Al at this point, comes in and says, "Hey, Win wants us back, so you got to come back." And he's saying, "No, I refuse to go back." Al then, like, says, "I'm not asking, you're coming with me, Fosberg." And then, suddenly out of nowhere, a bunch of, warriors come out of the monk area, and Al just pulls out a gun and starts shooting all the villagers. And, just a whole bunch of these people, around these guerrilla fighters who were hiding inside of the monastery. He ruins the ritual. He shoots over some candles and some bowls and stuff, and he's like, "No, you ruined it. You're gonna kill us all." And we see one of the random monks tries to get between them, but he gets also shot up and killed by Al, who's just going crazy. And then we see that this is all a memory that Spawn is having. Cagliostro talks about Al betraying Fosberg when he did that, and now Fosberg needs his help. And then we cut to the cell that Fosberg is being kept in, as we see him seemingly recreating the circle, the ritual that we saw Al having that flashback back in the beginning of the episode. He's kind of scraping dust and his food and rice and stuff into a giant circle on the floor. And he's using his hair and his teeth and all kinds of stuff for the ritual as he's trying to recreate whatever he did before, whatever it is we'll never learn what the hell he's actually trying to do. Win suddenly comes in and says, "Hey, I want info on that mask, the war mask of Genghis Khan. They say whoever wears it gets the powers of hell." Whatever vague notion that's supposed to be. Ooh. We see that Fosberg refuses to talk to Win, but then Win brings up a picture saying, "Hey, we know where your wife is, we know where your kids are, so you'll tell me everything you know about the mask or they're going to be killed." And Fosberg finally gives up, saying, "You need to find Zhang Lao. He knows where the mask is." And then this time we actually follow Win as he leaves this dungeon. And we see that it is actually the basement of an opium den. And we see that they are the opium den itself is a bunch of strung out people, smoking, and they are actually underneath a betting parlor. So it's 3 different levels of a weird building. We see Win is working with the Triad crime gangs, and he kind of sits down and starts talking with somebody about it. They still talk about some politics and different gang wars happening right now. And I was trying to figure out, is this a Chinatown in the fucking city, or is this actually in Hong Kong right now? I could not fucking tell for the life of me.
Yeah, it was hard to see where we were exactly or something, but all I know is that Win had influence here, so yeah. I don't know.
It's not very clear, but also they do talk about the political situation between Hong Kong going back to China, finally being free from the British colonialists, which is a still thing that's difficult with the country still now. I think it's independent now, I'm not sure. Win learns he's talking to his contact with the Triad, and the guy says, he's like, "Hey, you know Zhang Lao?" And he's like, "Oh, Zhang Lao, that dude's a fucking witch. He's not to be fucked with. And we, nobody in the Triad will mess with him." And he's like, "Hey, if I pay you enough money, you'll do whatever I say." And the guy's like, "Okay." And he says, "Okay, he orders 2 of his men to take him to Zhang Lao. And meanwhile, Cagliostro talks also to Zhang Lao. We see him going into a shop and kind of talking to him, which makes me think that this is Chinatown, New York. But he talks to Zhang Lao and he says, "Hey, I need help. I'm trying to save this spawn." And then Zhang's like, "No, you're not going to save the spawn. They're all bad." And he says that he knows this spawn is Al Simmons, and he knows that Al Simmons is a bad dude. And Cagliostro's trying to get Zhang Lao to call off Jade. Which this is one of the times I was like, okay, so is she human? Because she's technically working for this human witch man, so she's not working for heaven, or this guy is like a minion of, or like a subordinate of heaven? It's not very clear, but he refuses to call Jade off.
And he also mentions it's too late for the Hellspawn because the prophecy has already been fulfilled.
Yep, they say that Wanda is pregnant, and there is now a prophecy being hatched. Now, this is when we see Terry calls her from Chinatown, which is when I'm finally like, okay, I guess he didn't randomly go all the way to fucking China, so Terry must be in Chinatown, New York. And he's saying that, hey, I love you, Wanda, but I'm going to kill Jason Wynn. And this is when Cyan's kind of like, hey, mommy, where's daddy? And she's like, oh, I don't know, dear. But maybe he'll be home someday. So they're not really clear about they don't know what the fuck Terry's dumbass is up to. And this is when we see Jade is reluctant to kill the Hellspawn. She's saying that he doesn't seem to be evil. And she's talking to Zhang Lao about, like, I don't know if he might actually be good. And she's like, no, if you don't do it, then they're going to send other warriors who will take both of you out. So you better fucking deal with him or you're going to be dead. We see Terry wandering in the alleys as he, like, pretends to be a homeless guy in, like, a big cloak and, like, a weird, like, muddy face and saying, hey, do you have any change? When he tries to approach Win and his two guards who are going to go see Zhang Lao. And they kind of just, like, get out of our way, you bum. And he kind of just, like, continues to follow behind them. And it's still in hiding, though. Let's see. They do continue, or I think at one point Terry does try to attack Win, but then gets his ass kicked by the two guards and Win. It's like, you fucking idiot. And then they just dump him inside of the opium den beneath the betting parlor. And they start drugging him up with the opium to try to keep him sedate, saying, I'm not going to kill you because obviously Spawn's still after my ass and he'll kill me if I kill you, but you're going to stay here and you're going to be strung out and you're not going to be useful to anybody. And this is when we follow Win back to his trail to go protect to Zhang Lao's base. And this is when suddenly the guards are like, hey, they can say this guy's a witch. Like, hey, I'm just afraid of a witch. That's a bunch of bullshit. And then suddenly, of course, Zhang Lao whips out some crazy Sith magic and is fucking force choking them and throwing them around the building and completely, like, using crazy fucking magic powers on their asses. But in all this commotion, Win kind of just, like, sees the mask. He's going to try to run and grab it. And the guy, Zhang Lao's just like, don't even do it, dude. He literally says, you don't have the wisdom to fucking wield that mask properly. It's just going to fuck you up. And I wrote in my notes, his wisdom stat is too low to operate the mask.
Win's wisdom too low. Yes, excellent.
He puts on the mask and starts freaking out and screaming as it's kind of like burning his head or whatever. And Zhang Lao's kind of just, like, laughing. And this is when we cut to Wanda somehow I think she did get the message from Terry because she knows where he is. But she busts into the den and she kind of, like, she, like, punches out some woman who's giving him opium, saying, like, get away from me, you bitch, and kind of, like, beats her up and then kind of tries to rescue him. But then she is subsequently caught by the fucking guards as well. So she's also being thrown into a dungeon. And now we cut to Spawn this whole episode, who I guess we finally find out what the fuck he's been doing. He also now knows where Fossberg is, and he kind of just busts into the prison cell and says, like, oh, are you here to take me to hell? And he says, no, I'm here to rescue you, Fossberg. It's me, Al. He's like, oh, Al. We see that while they're escaping, coincidentally, they hear around the corner Wanda and Terry being also tossed into a cell. And they're saying, oh, shit, we gotta rescue their asses too. Great. And so they decide to rescue them. They literally beat up the guards. They fucking rescue all of them real quick and real easy. But Spawn disappears and lets Fossberg take them out, as Spawn is still hiding away from both of them. And this is when Spawn uses his cloak magic again to pose and pretend to be Terry, and gets back into the chains. And he's saying, like, oh, I'm all chained up and I'm weak. And then, like, this is when Win finally comes back. He's all deformed and his head's all bloated and weird and scarred up. He looks freaked out. He looks freaky from the mask. And he pulls out a knife saying, Terry, I don't care what's going to happen to me. I'm going to torture you. I'm going to kill you now, Terry. And then, like, Spawn kind of just bursts out saying, haha, you dumb bitch. It's me. It's not Terry at all.
Haha, you dumb bitch. You thought it was Terry, but it was me, Spawn, all along.
Yep, and he kind of just, like, tosses Win out of the cell, beats up a couple of guards. And then this is when two guards with machine guns just start shooting up Spawn, and they're actually, like, somehow beating him because they said he's weak from they're earlier on, way back, probably an episode or two ago. Cagliostro said that if you use this power, to the cloak power, to appear human, you're going to lose your Spawn powers for that time period. So he is slightly weakened from turning into Terry. And the two, like, random henchmen with machine guns are actually, like, shooting him down. He's actually getting hurt and actually being, like, knocked back. I burped into the mic, great. He kind of being, like, knocked back and actually hurt. But then, out of the shadows comes Jade. And he says, are you coming to kill me again? She says, no, I'm here to rescue you. As she begins killing all the guards with her cool sword powers and magic. Not really anything heavenly, but She does manage to kill the 2 guards, and she rescues Spawn, taking him out of the base. They go back to Spawn's hideout, wherever the hell that is. I think it's just a vague spot in the alley.
Oh, I thought it was the church. I thought they went to the church.
Is it the church? Yeah, you're right. It's probably the church. But I don't think it's not Cagliostro's muscle. Like the weird, like underground base. It's just
it's not that
normal
one.
Church part. Yeah. She confronts him, and then she says like, "Oh, you're different from the other Spawns." And then he kisses. Then they kiss, and that's when the episode ends.
Yep. So, Matt.
Yeah.
Question of the day with this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you like the replacement for Angela?
That makes sense. That she was that. Yeah, I know Angela's supposed to be like a romantic interest for him, and as Jade said, I think Jade is a fine character. I wish that they showed her like celestial powers or essence or even relation to them in some way, shape, or form. You know? Right?
Yeah. All we know is that this weird funky wizard witch guy is trying to he is in cahoots with heaven and is able to be like, hey Jade, look, let me level with you, kind of thing. Like that whole thing is very muddied. All we know is that she killed Genghis Khan and a lot of other people. And it's like, come on now.
Not clear. It's not clear in the slightest. Zhang Lao I thought was very interesting, seeing another weird wizard doing cool stuff.
Right, yeah.
Seeing him kill those 2 guards very handily was very funny. But like, and it also goes into the weird, like the nature of weird shit. Like, what the hell is Zhang Lao? Is he just a wizard like Merlin was? And if there's people capable of just learning magic like that in this world, like, I don't know, it's very weird. But also, even on like a larger scale, knowing all the weird freaky shit, like how Overkill, which I looked it up, it is Overt Kill.
Yeah, I looked that up too, but honestly, he was such a low maintenance character. I really
he doesn't matter. Less. But I'm saying like there's weird shit like that thing, but then like I said again, it's just thinking about there's a large number of superheroes in this universe and a large number of stuff like the heavens, hells. There's other gods and monsters and magic and all kinds of aliens and shit like that in this universe. That just seeing like another magic user around and like it's like another fascinating, like, okay, let's go into that. But but the main question you asked, I know you haven't bought it or played it, but Mortal Kombat 1, the character Ashra, who's like a demon trying to become good by doing good deeds and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm familiar with her.
Yeah, like her manifestation of her like heavenly powers is that she can sometimes occasionally have wings that can be used for attacking and magic and stuff like that, and also her sword can like glow like with magical light powers and stuff like that. Jade doesn't have any ounce of anything heavenly or celestial in the slightest, like even though like the white eyes and the black face like coloring or painter of Angela and the other angels and stuff like that, like all of that was missing, which is a very, very weird choice.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't do that because, like you said, Angela and, like, some of the other, like, celestial, like, angels, they had that, like, that black, like, the black around their eyes and stuff like that. But here it's like, okay, why this design choice? Why did you decide to not have it?
Yeah, or, like, Redeemer and the other angels, when they have, like, a lot of gold and, like, gold and white armor looking stuff that's really cool aesthetic that I really like. That there's none of that on Jade either. She's just kind of just like a traditional. She looks like a Ninja Turtles character. Actually, honestly, she looks like
she kind of. I'm
pretty sure the character's Jade from Ninja Turtles is also a character named Jade, who's also just like a ninja woman from Ninja Turtles. She just like looks very generic, and I wish that she did have more of a like significant like actual thing on like her stuff, But like conceptually, I think it's a good idea. I think it is out of nowhere to make Lisa Wu a weird celestial in this season. There was like no hints of that in the first season whatsoever. But like, yeah, it's a very interesting concept, and I wish that they did do more with her. But what are you gonna do? I liked her, but like the episode itself, I'm upset that this is all we get of Win. He kind of just gets tossed out of the room and is never seen again.
Yeah, I mean, then again, we only have one more episode, so.
Yeah, but this episode's not going to deal with Win at all, and I really wish they could have went with the Redeemer storyline instead of Jade, but there's lots that they could do, and it was just Todd at the time. What are you gonna do?
But what are you talking about? We have one episode to describe this whole thing. That what'd you say his name was? Ji Woo or something like that?
Zhang Lao.
Yeah, Zhang Lao. We have one episode to explain what the fuck he meant by prophecy.
Yeah, totally out of nowhere. Just suddenly, like, there's a prophecy, which is always, the telltale sign of lazy writing.
Right, yeah. It's just like, oh my gosh. But now, speaking of which, we should wrap up this series before we do our actual wrap-up by talking about the final episode, the season finale of Season 3, and the series finale of Spawn. Episode 6, The Prophecy.
It's just prophecy.
Whatever. I'm adding words.
Well, since you actually have notes for this one, I'm going to let you take the lead, and I'm going to run to the bathroom, so...
So,
all right, now I'm back.
Yeah.
Were you vamping that whole time? I went all the way to the bathroom.
I had that. Yeah. Unfortunately, I had to ad lib because I went to get my notes out for the last episode, and they got deleted.
Jesus Christ!
What a shit show! And by the way, that whole dead air thing, you are taking that out. You are going to edit that out.
Did you literally not say anything the whole time?
We are not having all of that. No, I was pulling out my notes, and I'm just like, and so we start with. Fuck, my notes got deleted.
I was gonna say
kind of thing. So I had the we had to fucking there's gonna be quite a bit of me just going when you get my recording. You are you're cutting out that dead air on your end, and you're cutting out the whole thing.
I was gonna say
we are not having that. No,
it's hilarious and it's fun to show how bad we are at doing remote records. I literally went all the way to the bathroom, was about to start using the bathroom, and I was just like, wait a minute. I had to check my headphones because I don't know if my recording's coming through my headphones or through my phone right now with your end. So I don't know if it's actually recording from my headphones, and I would have been you would have heard me using the bathroom the whole time. So I'm glad I double checked and then ran back, tossed my headphones off, and then went back to the bathroom.
No. Seriously, cut that entire thing
out. Oh, it's
fun.
Man.
I'm not joking.
Okay.
No, I'm not kidding. Just cut that whole thing out.
Well, you're still taking the lead because I fucking
anyway.
I'm talking the last 3 episodes.
Oh yes, I am taking the lead. Don't worry about that. But we're cutting that whole thing out. So we're gonna start we're gonna start back at Todd McFarlane. So we get to Todd McFarlane, and he's in his mausoleum talking about how there's a demon in every man. No one knows that better than Spawn. Ooh, and how does he gain his humanity? How's he gonna do it since everything's taken from him? But don't worry, guys. He's got a heart. And because he's got heart, he's literally the 5th element to call Captain Planet, because he's got heart.
Yeah.
And even though he's blind to it, there's still hope for him yet. And then he puts on his fucking coat, pops the collar up, and just walks away. I'm and just walks out of the mausoleum, and I'm just like, oh my god.
Yeah, I wish you would have said, and now Spot is over. Turn on your lights.
Yeah, right. And now it's time for the last episode of Spawn. So turn on your lights.
Turn off the dark.
So we start off with a big old thunderstorm thing going on, and Spawn, in the thing, in the alley where we hear Cagliostro talking about how, the Hell Spawn is caught between 2 forces, the forces of heaven and the forces of hell, and he's sitting there he's a prisoner in a skin and not his own will, blah blah blah, and we see Spawn standing in an alley where he sees 2 hooded figures, and they look celestial because they're not wearing black, they're wearing white. One has a golden scythe, the other one has a golden crossbow. And of course, as that, he's just sitting here, Spawn's just sitting here more people, I see how
more
it
bounty
is.
Hunters.
And they vanish, and more bounty hunters. And Cagliostro, we cut to Cagliostro getting out a big old book. And that's when Spawn's look at this. It's 2 more bounty hunters. And Cagliostro's dude, portal doesn't just open the hell, idiot.
Yeah, he also makes a dumb joke saying, what did you expect, a carpenter in sandals?
Yeah, right. He's talks about that, and Swan's just I don't care. I'm just gonna kill anyone who gets... He's what the hell are you talking about? They've come here because of the prophecy. And Spawn, for the first time ever, mentions what he says, what everyone else is thinking. What the fuck are you talking about?
He says that he's brought Wanda into the sights of heaven and hell.
Yep, and apparently this prophecy has been going on for 5,000 years, and he needs to regain his humanity, or else he can't protect Wanda, and because Wanda's now a pawn in this game, because for some reason this prophecy has to do with, hey, a Hellspawn seed is now implanted in a human's body, therefore that is gonna that child is gonna determine who wins, heaven or hell. Armageddon. Yep, they decide Armageddon, which begs the question: is the kid just gonna pop out and be like heaven, or come out and be like hell?
Well, I'll go into that at the end of the season.
Or is it gonna be like fair? And of course, I don't believe you. And of course, Malvosia tricks you again, and Spawn's like, no. And of course, the big plot twist of all of Spawn, all 3 seasons, the biggest plot twist that they had in this episode only, the only time hinting for it, is that Malvosia never wanted him, the Hellspawn. He wanted the kid. Yep. I'm like, wow, this writing. Meanwhile, back in the office of the police force, we get Sam getting made fun of by 2 other cops, like, yeah, look at how's Twitch doing. I hear he's a little Milky and the Filbert and everything like that. And when Sam tries to shut them out, they pretty much force themselves in, like, hey Twitch, how's it going? You should save the bullet, And Twitch is like, dude, trust me, it's in a safe place. Touches his bandage, and they're like, oh my god, you still literally have that bullet in your head. And then Sam kicks him out and is like, dude, seriously, what the fuck, man? And Twitch is like, look, I'm starting to remember little bits and pieces about the alley. Something important shot up, got brought up with the shooting. The person who shot the gun had normal hands. The red cloaked figure had claws. Yeah. So I don't think it was the red cloaked figure. And Sam's like, dude, come on now, you're talking crazy. And Twitch is like, no, seriously, no claws. That I'm being dead serious with this. And Sam's like, wait, so we're supposed to think it was him, but then who would it be? Oh wait, that's the whole. And Twitch mentions Jason
his notebook.
Wynn
his notebook has the name Wynn in it, and whoever that is has to be somebody high up working for Wynn.
Exactly, yeah. And then that's when Sam's like, wait a minute, that's what's happening. Your brain sees the hand but not the face, because it's someone you don't want it to be, someone you look up to or anything like that. And then Twitch actually gets another memory, like, oh shit, and we actually get revealed what we all knew, that it was the chief of police. And Twitch is like, dude, don't say this at all to anyone out loud. This has to stay in this room, kind of thing. It's it's like, oh, we're finally getting something. Meanwhile, on a highway, we get Wanda talking to Granny again, and she's mentioning, oh, we Terry and I, we haven't been doing so well. It's crazy. I feel like he's gonna leave us. And Granny's like, dude, he's not leaving. Come on, relax. And they mentioned the baby that Wanda has, and Wanda's like, you know what? With everything that's going on with Terry and I think I want an abortion. And Granny's like, whoa, no, because, highly religious grandma. And, drops her off, and, Wanda, you can't get rid of the baby. It's God's child. And Wanda's like, I need to go back to work. Just, you take it easy. And then as Wanda leaves, Granny has a heart attack. And, literally, immediately after, it's just the next scene is just her having a heart attack. The front porch saying, and then
as Wanda's driving off, she's collapsing.
Right. And then, she actually does collapse, and, she's like, oh no. And, like, it's funny because it's like, there's like an ominous clock ticking. Like, oh no. I'm like, wow, this just went here, kind of thing. Meanwhile, back at the chief of police, Sam walks in and is like, yo, you wanted to see me? And, the chief is just like, yeah, we're under the investigation by the NSC.
Sullivan specifically.
Some guy... Yeah, some guy named Sullivan's here. He's like, yeah, I know. Look, just keep your mouth shut, about certain things. We don't want the press to get things, blow things out of proportion. And Sam's like, you don't have anything to hide, do ya? The chief's like, dude, it's literally Twitch. I'm worried because he's, he got through with getting shot in the head. His brain's not all there. And Sam's like, dude, you're a real piece of work, That Twitch is just fine. And then he leaves, like, after fucking the chief is just like giving him like threatenings, like, dude, he's gonna not be a part of the force, and it. He's like, dude, shut the hell up. Leaves, and it's like that guy is really just like really getting on my nerves, and he stinks of booze and everything like that, and just this guy's frustrating me. Twitch actually sees gets more flashbacks about the alley, and it just gets up and starts to leave. It's like, wait, what the hell are you doing? Twitch is like, I need to take care of something alone. I'm like, here we go. We get the cop saying like, I don't need your help. I'm gonna do this all by myself. And I'm like, Twitch, you literally had a bullet in your brain. We cut then to the hospital, where Granny is, and Spawn actually talks to Al talks to Granny. Granny knows her voice, but Al's not in like a shroud. Yeah. And
is he actually in his normal human form right now, or is he in his regular Spawn form? I can't remember.
No. He's like he doesn't go into any other human form anymore in this series. But yeah, like she's like, talking about the family, and like Al's like, you need to stay here with your family. And she's like, man, I wish you would have brought I have regrets, And Al's like, wait a minute. You literally are like the best person I've ever known in my entire life. How could you have any regrets? She's like, well, I lived this long, haven't I? I just want to see my Jack. AKA her husband, who she's never talked about before. Yep. And even Al's like, you never really talk about him. And she's like, his last words were, and it was like something along the lines of, if only you could see my face and see the love in my eyes. Mm-hmm. And then the words and stuff. Then she notices there's something off. Like Al notices there's something off, and he's like, what's wrong? What is it? And she brings up that Wanda has a baby on the way, and that she wants to get rid of it. And I was just like, I have to go. Like, oh shit, everything's coming together, just like Cagliostro said. And I'm sitting here like, well, no fucking shit,
he's
Sherlock.
We know from the last 3 seasons he's very slow on the uptake.
Yes, I know, but still, it's like, really, fucker, really? Meanwhile, back at the cemetery, where you see Al standing by his own grave, we see Jade appear. And it's like, hey, is this where you're buried? And he's like, yeah, I this is where I belong. And Jade's like, oh no, it's okay. You came back. You came back because you had love in your heart. I would have done the same thing, which is exactly why she's still with Spawn. And you hear like this weird horn. Yeah,
every time you see the two celestial bounty hunters, you hear this weird fucking. I don't know if it's like a vuvuzela or a fucking weird ass. It's like a weird ass noise.
Yeah, it's just like some kind of weird like thing going on, and Al is just like, they've come for me, and Jade's like, no, they came from me, because like, look, I couldn't kill you. They're gonna see me as a traitor, and he's like, I'm not gonna let that happen, and she's like, look, all you need to do is they may not come after you because if you do something good with that shroud of yours, they finally use the shroud word. If you do something with your shroud that's good, maybe they'll won't be like, so hard on you or something like that. And then we cut to the subway where Twitch and the chief, I always forget the chief's name, to be honest. But yeah, he they Twitch is like, dude, I know what you did. You fucking shot me, and the only thing is that I didn't die. I'm gonna take you in. And then they have like they have a fight on like the actual tracks, and as as Twitch is getting choked out by the chief, Sam just comes up from behind and punches the chief right in the face, saving Twitch from being choked to death. Subway comes through, and Subway comes through, and Sam and Twitch get off on time, and goes through, and it's like, oh my god, maybe the chief is dead, and no, he's not. He
they look over and see him also crawling up over the side.
Yep, crawl up over the side, and there's no one else on this subway, so best way to have like a spat between the corrupt chief versus some of the cops. And this is where Sam actually has one of his good moments. They all get on the subway, and he's like, okay, it was you. It was you. You pulled the trigger. And of course, he's like, go to hell. And, Sam tries to beat the shit out of the chief. And Twitch is like, no, don't. You're a good cop. You don't do this. And he's like, what? I can't have some justice here? As the chief pulls out the same gun that he used on Twitch, easily gets booted out, and he's like, all right, look, here's what's gonna happen. That's probably the same gun you tried to pull on Twitch and everything. I'm gonna make sure you get locked up for good, kind of thing. And of course, the chief's like, who are they gonna believe, you or me? Pulls out a recording device, plays a part where plays like a bit of the conversation they just had. He's like, all right, look, you could either turn yourself in, or you could just end it yourself, save us the trouble, because Jason Wynn isn't going to be the kind of guy to do all this stuff. So
spare you if you get caught.
To let you live. So either do us a favor by shooting yourself or turn yourself in. I don't care which. And then apparently this all takes place during that one thing, because now it's the next stop. And then Twitch and Sam get off. Then when they look in where they see the chief just sitting there, he looks down at the gun, and then you just see a bit of broken glass and blood.
Big old blood splat.
Yep. The chief is now his brain is now spaghetti. Yep. Yeah, and that's exactly what it says in it says right here. It just says brain spaghetti.
And then the clown shows up and laughs. It's just the only scene of the clown this whole fucking episode.
Oh yeah, because clown shows up and is like, man, did you have a rough day? We cut back to Spawn and Jade with the hunters, where Jade gets shot, and Al's like, no, don't
Jade
hurt
says
her,
she'll defy
kind of thing.
heaven just like he defied hell. That's her
plan. Yeah, she's like, I'll yeah, shot. That's the plan. Yeah, that's the plan. But then she gets shot, and then there's a bit of a chase. They go into some kind of mausoleum area, and Jade's like, look, if you kill them, they're gonna just keep bringing more and more, and they're just gonna keep trying to fight us. If I'm gonna ever go to the Fields of Elysium,
she says,
there's one way.
If they kill her, she'll go to hell.
Right, yeah. If they kill me, I'll go to hell. But if I want to go to the Fields of Elysium, I have to die in battle. She gets her sword out, and she hands it to Al and is like, kill me. And he's like, no, I can't do it. I love you. And she's like, just end my suffering, please. The two bounty hunters appear, getting ready to for a fight, and very, very highly hesitant, he fucking kills Jade, and her last words to him are no regrets. and then she dies. Yep. Then you see this very beautifully blonde woman just take off a cloak and wrap around, and Alice is she gonna know peace? And she's like, she will, but not like you, Hellspawn.
Yep.
And then, they leave, and he's just like, oh, I'm so sad. I'm sad, so very, very sad.
Yeah, no, they say they're not going to kill him, but they'll be back for the child.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, it's like, what? Because he's like, kill me, please. And they're like, no, we're just going to go after, but we will come after the kid after all of this is said and done. And then, Spawn's like, lament. Mm-hmm. In which we see Granny in a wheelchair, just sitting there, and we see Spawn, Al appear and says, you trust me? She's like, yeah. He's like, look, I'm going to give you what you wanted. Just don't be afraid. And then you see, like, her, like, the shroud, like, goes around her, and she gets pulled in, and you see a young version of Granny talking with Jack. And she's like, oh my god. And she's like, and he's like, you see the love in my eyes? She goes, I do actually see you. Yeah, for the first time she actually sees him. And she's like, I want to join you. And he's like, it ain't your time. You got family to take care of. Don't worry, I'll wait for you like I always do. And, she's kind of sad, but she's really, really happy that, she got to see Jack. Like, actually see Jack. And I'm like, oh, that's sweet. Yeah. He actually decided to do a good thing. He actually helped
somebody for once.
Even though, he actually helped someone with the shroud. Woo! Kind of thing. And, she's like, did you see him? Oh, this is wonderful. This is amazing. And Alice is like, look, this was like the power that wasn't like, God. That was like the power from my master. And she's like, Don't worry, everything's going to be fine. You'll be forgiven, I swear, kind of thing. And then we get to the last scene of this entire thing.
Back in Cagliostro's
where
antique
we
shop
just
thing,
see,
please.
Yeah, back to the curios of mystery kind of thing. Al walks in, and Cagliostro's like, what do you plan to do? Like, what are you willing to give up? And Al is like, I will pledge everything I own. I will give everything that I have left, heart included. I want my humanity back. And then, like, you see him without, like, the mask covering him. You just see his, like, full face. Yeah. And that's where it ends.
The end.
That is the end of all of Spawn.
Or is it?
No. Unfortunately, it actually
that's
is.
The end of the animated series Spawn. A crazy giant cliffhanger.
Yeah.
On many, many plots unresolved. Just that's what happens when a show gets untimely canceled.
Yep. And that was everything. That was everything that had to do with Spawn in this series.
Yeah.
And wow. I mean, just finally, even though it was actually, question of the day with this episode particularly. How did you like the fact that Spawn finally got his head out of his ass and did something good?
Yeah, it's well, we've talked about it ever since the first episode. He just loves to mope around and brood and not really help and just kind of kill people. I'm glad that he did something very nice finally. Took him 3 seasons to finally get around to it. Yeah, Spawn is a very difficult character to deal with.
He really is. Like, adaptations for him and everything, it's just like, wow. Just wow,
yeah,
man.
He's very, very difficult. Like, yeah, in a way that's... all the series we've covered, we've had hard-headed people, we've had, dumb people, we've had all kinds of people who are like, but like he was the most difficult because he was so stupid and he was like would not learn a lesson. It was just, and not in a fun way like Korra, but like he was just like real stupid.
See, here's the thing. There's there's what Korra was, who was hard-headed. Yeah. Like she was very stubborn and hard-headed, but when the chips were down, she actually did what needed to be done sooner rather than later.
And also
Spawn was just like...
I was going to say same with the Belmont from Castlevania. He was a drunk, of course, and he was very reluctant, but he was always ready and able to help and like do the right thing whenever he could.
Right. But then we get fucking Al Simmons in this iteration, and he's just literally like so stubborn that you can't, like, what the hell, man? And then finally after after 18
Yeah.
episodes, well, actually after 17 episodes, finally he does something good.
Mm-hmm.
And then he finally was like, you know what? I'm gonna listen to you. I want my humanity back.
Yeah.
I'll actually like listen to you.
Yeah.
And that was it. The end, kind of thing. Just
yeah, I'm sure that'll work out for him.
Yeah, right.
Well, yeah. So, before I go into my feelings on the whole series, I wanted to do my little like couple minutes just summary of what happens in Spawn comics after this point.
Well, you go and do that. It's my turn to use the bathroom.
All right, well, make sure I'm not muted because I don't have to hear you. Are you able to hear me still though when you're mute?
I'll be able to hear you.
Yeah,
don't
make
worry.
Sure your mic's
so keep
off
going.
I don't want to hear you peeing. Or make sure, you just turn the both the mic. Don't stop the recording. But don't give me more work. All right. So I assume you're on your way to the bathroom now. All right. So the nature of the two children, spoiled it already. The prophecy says that the child will resolve the battle between heaven and hell and resolve Armageddon. It turns out that the two kids, he sires with Wanda, turn out to actually be the reincarnation of God and the devil. And they are two equally shit-headed little psychopaths that love to kill one another repeatedly because they both cannot be killed. It's also a very fun thing because, like, by the time they are around, I would say maybe 7 or 8, Cyan is a teenager. She's kind of like taking responsibility for them with her mom always, working and stuff like that. But they're like constantly, literally like killing each other by like bashing their brains in or shooting one another or like stabbing the other to death. And they just they don't know what their nature is. They don't know why they're like that, but they're just two evil little creatures. And yeah, they find out from this other higher being that they are the incarnation of God and the devil. We find out that humanity was created by God in this universe, but they were created for the purpose of being servants to him just because he could and he loved to create. And the devil was the one that gave them free will, and that is why they ignore him and they don't do what he wants. And the actual nature of heaven is that they are servants in heaven. Everyone who dies, all the angels and everything like that, they are actually like slave servants to God in the heavenly world, and like all the stuff about him being merciful or caring was all bullshit, and it's just crazy. And then we see the nature of the beings in hell are that they do have freedom, but they are also still beholden to the actual devil, who is just a being above Malbolgia and above the other people who take over after Malbolgia. I think it's I forgot what the devil being is after that, but like, yeah, they both take all the souls of people who die, even Granny, who eventually does pass in the comics. It goes to heaven and then sees that she's just going to be a slave servant to this very shit-headed god. And it's just a really, really crazy giant battle. They all come down to Earth, and like the being that created both of them grants Spawn the ability to stop them and reset the entire planet, which is how it actually ends. It's just like a
So that's how the Al Simmons story ends. He literally just like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna reset the world.
He gets the power to reset the entire universe, keeping God and the devil still around, no longer as the reincarnation of his children, but yeah, he like resets everything back to the beginning. There's a different version of heaven and hell. There's a different version of the whole Spawn universe at that point. It's kind of like one of the Marvel or DC reboots, but it's actually like canonically happens in there. But yeah, it's a really, really cool comic series. And like I said, the actual follow, I read this end of series comic like probably 20 or so years ago, back when I was like in middle or elementary school, and I just like read it and I was like, why the hell are these two little weird kids killing each other? It was just like, but yeah, it's a really, really cool concept. And of course, edgelordy as possible, because Todd McFarlane is anything if not consistent.
Right.
But yeah, it's a very bizarre, weird ending to the series. But it's also a very like I said, very funny and interesting and weird, surreal comic. That's very fun to read. But yeah, it turns out there's actually two kids, and they are both like super crazy powerful. But
yeah, that's
it's
insane.
really, really weird. But I'll say that this series, I'm gonna be honest with you, Ben, not one of my favorites of the shows we've covered.
Hey, you want me to be honest with you? I I did this because I had a nostalgia for it. And then when I was watching this, I'm like, wow, we just did this, didn't we?
Yeah.
And hey, and just so you know, just like movie garbage, you're gonna get some good ones, you're gonna get some bad ones.
Yeah. I will say, like, yeah, I'm not like upset. I've been curious about this series, obviously, for like, the 20 years. I've only gotten snippets when I was a kid, and I would turn on HBO and I would catch 5 seconds of some like brutal massacre and some like cartoon characters saying the word "fuck." What the heck is this show? But like. Finally, now 20 years later, watching it, it's just like, oh, is it finally? I finally know all. I've seen the entire series through twice now. And it's like, okay, now that I get it, and also, like I said, I know a little bit about the Spawn comic stuff, but just like seeing that world and everything, I get what all the love is, and I get the fans of the series are always like, please reboot it or please give it another show or a good movie. But like, yeah, this was definitely not. This was on the lower end of Action Toon Bros shows.
Oh yeah,
but I'm
absolutely, and
just for my own curiosity's sake, I'm glad we finally watched it.
Well, and that comment about like sometimes you'll get good and bad ones. That was mainly for the people listening because like movie garbage, there's gonna be some really good ones. There's gonna be some really bad ones. Like I mean, heck, there's gonna be ones where Matt's like, "This is amazing," and I'm gonna be like, "This is garbage," and And there's gonna be, and Matt knows my taste very well, my very strange taste in things. So even he's gonna be like, "Dude, what the fuck, man?" Kind of like with this one right now. But yeah, either way, I mean, but yeah, I'm glad we got it through, and I can honestly say after rewatching it after so many years of remembering it from back in the day. It still will hold a special place in my heart because I do like the character Spawn and I like the concepts, but my God, this animated series, man, this was absolutely atrocious. And speaking as a fan of Spawn, they really do need to do. Like I really do believe they should make like a show or something that that does it better justice. Pretty much. It needs
the edgelordiness is unavoidable, but they really could have done with some better writing because like.
I mean, hell, just remember, Batman the Animated Series, that was edgy too, but that was tasteful. Yeah,
and also, I was thinking other stuff around the time, the Gargoyles, another series we might eventually cover, and like, what's it called? X-Men Evolution, which I just recently started rewatching, like, stuff from around this same era.
Oh my God, those are two good shows.
They're like, the animation quality is really good. They're not as, bloody or mature as this film tries to be, but like there is still really, really good writing and really good storytelling episode to episode in those. Like, but also this show, another thing I did that was very original, I'll say, is that it was a 100% like continual plot, which most things are just very serialized and like what happens in the episode is fairly contained. It's literally from episode to episode, like an ongoing story, like any other. That was a very for its time, very, very interesting and very like forward thinking. I'll say that, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And there is one other thing I will say that in positivity with the Spawn, with this particular Spawn series that we just watched. As always, because I mean, this goes without saying, but Todd McFarlane really does have a good animation style.
Yeah. And the art style, like I said, I love the aesthetic of things like Angela and Redeemer, Malbolgia, and even the Violator, which we didn't get anywhere near enough of. They all have really, really cool aesthetics, which I really love. But I wish the writing was better quality.
Absolutely. Like, this is just one of those examples of the animation was great, was fantastic. Todd McFarlane, wonderful person from what I hear from people who actually
his
meet
YouTube
him.
Stuff now is very cool and very like nice and cool. It's funny and really it's great watching his stuff now even.
Right, yeah, and even like like the comic, like the Spawn comic series and stuff, fantastic. This was bad direction, and this was just oh my God, man. But yeah, so any final thoughts on Spawn?
No, I gotta get some Band-Aids for all this edge, but a very interesting turn from the series.
Dude, you you need some fucking gauze
yeah.
rolls
I need
for
some
this.
full gauze for that edge cutting I did for this damn series. But yeah, very interesting show.
Right. But yeah, so, let's do our shameless plugs first, which, by the way, as per the norm at this moment, I still have nothing going on.
Of course, the move is they messed up this show, so yeah, we're all over the place. My extreme work schedule.
And we will...
Everything, yeah.
Yep. But now, well, what about you?
Old episodes of Action Toon Bros, go back and listen to those, of course. Movie Garbage, Forgotten Minotaur King, the podcast, and the book, go buy it. Still haven't gotten around to posting Perno and Mars, which I probably should have done while we were on hiatus, or gotten back to even writing that goddamn second series. The theoretical show with Chris still has not had any legs. Probably gonna be even more difficult with all this remote shit. Check out the Patreon Matthew Lewis Podcasts on Patreon, Matthew Lewis Podcasts on Twitch, Matthew Lewis Podcasts on Twitter. I'm not gonna call it the dumb name. Matthew Lewis Podcast at Gmail for other shit like that. So yeah, wraps up all my plugs for now.
Oh. Yeah, okay. Sorry, when you said the dumb name, I'm like, oh, you're talking about... Yeah, okay, I get you now. But now, because, you know what, Matt? I gotta be honest with you, man. I don't think this was bloody, gruesome, or offensive enough for our show. Yeah, I really think we can go above and beyond this with something a little bit more, a little bit more brutal, something more heavy, something more ridiculous, but is actually a little bit better than this. Mm-hmm. And so for this is not a question for you, Matt. I'm gonna do this whole thing where I actually talk directly to the audience with this one. So answer me something, my fine audience. What do you get when you cross animation, satire, and heavy metal? Spoilers, you get Metalocalypse.
Hell yeah.
Yep, that's fucking right. I decided to get off my lazy ass, and we are finally going to cover all of Metalocalypse. And I can actually say it's going to be all of Metalocalypse because after, for those of you who know Metalocalypse, after 10 long, grueling years, we finally got a finale for all of Metalocalypse. Yes, we are going to cover the entire series and the hour-long special and the full-length movie on this platform.
Yeah!
So get ready, and I'm going to say this right now. I'm going to say it like in every other episode that we do for this. It's going to be brutal. It's not going to be for the faint of heart. If this show was too much for you, Metalocalypse is going to be far worse. I'm going to say that right now. There's your warning. But my God, Metalocalypse is fantastic. We'll get to that next season. I am here at Action Toon Brothers Emporium. I am Ben Sturgeon.
And I am Matthew Lewis.
And from us to you, we would like you all to...
Keep it sleazy.
Kuvira's Gambit.
I'm going to cut that out.